Chapter 882. Each of the magic weapons was extremely powerful, and all of them struck toward Taoist Hao Yu. The mighty energy smashed into the white mirror. Bang, bang, bang. In less than 3 breaths of time, countless cracks had appeared on the surface of the Tianyuan sacred land's mirror. Damn it, Taoist Hao Yu roared. Taoist Fu Tang's heart was also bleeding. This was the inherited treasure of the Tianyuan sacred land, and now it was almost destroyed. Boom, boom, boom. Taoist Hao Yu struck dozens of palms at the sky toward Li Changsheng. The shattering of the mirror made him go crazy. A true immortal realm expert went all out, and the power was undoubtedly terrifying. However, in the next second, Li Changsheng sneered. A golden magic sword flew out from between his eyebrows and pierced toward Taoist Hao Yu's head. He wanted to anger Taoist Hao Yu and make him lose his mind. Then, he would use the true martial Godslayer sword to launch a sneak attack. Sure enough, the crazy Taoist Hao Yu did not realize that the true martial Godslayer sword was unusual. He still raised his palm to try to block it. However, in the next second, the golden magic sword directly penetrated his palm print and shot into his mind. Taoist Hao Yu let out a painful howl. He held his head with both hands, and his body swayed in the air. The true martial Godslayer sword specialized in attacking the divine consciousness. Even Taoist Hao Yu, who was in the true immortal realm, had his divine soul severely injured. This was because he was in the true immortal realm. If it were an ordinary earth immortal like Taoist Fu Tang, once the Godslayer sword flew into his mind, his soul would probably be destroyed immediately. Taoist Hao Yu's painful voice echoed in the sky. Blood flowed from his eyes. He could not even take care of himself. He was hit by the mountain and river ruler, Black Devil Mountain, and other magic weapons. His body was dyed red with blood, and his chest was smashed flat. It was too painful. Taoist Hao Yu had shown invincible talent from the moment he stepped on the path of cultivation. He had broken through to the true immortal realm and became the top expert in the Tiandu Star Zone. In the 3,000 years he had lived, this was the most serious injury he had ever suffered. Li Changsheng, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to tear you into pieces. Taoist Bright Moon's body stopped swaying, and his eyes were filled with resentment. To think that you would be able to recover so quickly. Your willpower is quite formidable. The true immortal stage is truly extraordinary. Only, do you think that you will have the opportunity to turn the tables? Li Changsheng let out a loud shout and continuously punched hundreds of times in the air. Over 100 punches stacked together and struck Taoist Hao Yu's body. Taoist Hao Yu's body was directly sent flying backwards. A hole appeared in his chest, and blood continuously flowed out from his mouth. Continuing, Li Changsheng continuously punched out, reaching over 300 punches in an instant. His power rumbled as he smashed Reverend Hao Yu from the sky to the ground, smashing a deep crater in the ground. Afterwards, Reverend Hao Yu was smashed into the ground. I will kill you. Taoist Bright Moon let out a furious roar, but there was nothing he could do. Li Changsheng did not give him a chance to fight back at all. In addition, his divine sense was damaged, and the speed at which he mobilized the world's energy was far slower than before. If it were not for the recovery ability of a true immortal's body, he would have been blown apart by Li Changsheng long ago. Bang, 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 bang. Li Changsheng's gaze was cold as he continued to throw out punches. 301, 302, 380, 350. At this moment, Li Changsheng's body, which had been completely healed, suddenly began to bleed. His face became even paler. 300 punches had already broken through the limits of his body. At this moment, he had actually thrown out 500 punches. The power of these 500 punches stacked together, and a sense of extreme danger appeared in Taoist Hao Yu's heart. Finally, fear appeared in his eyes. The power of these 500 punches had not completely landed when the ground began to sink. The surrounding mountains and rivers exploded one after another and were razed to the ground. The spectators were all aghast. How was this possible? How could you possibly unleash such an attack? Taoist Hao Yu was truly afraid. His qi and blood burned. He actually chose to burn his blood essence without hesitation, wanting to fight Li Changsheng to the death. He was a Tao integration stage, true immortal, a supreme existence. Yet, he was beaten to the point of burning his blood essence. However, it was clearly too late. That unparalleled punch had already fallen from the sky. The terrifying power seemed to be able to split the world apart. Boom! Daoist how you burned half of his blood essence and turned it into a huge palm print. It suddenly struck out. This palm print used almost all of his strength in an attempt to block Li Changsheng's punch. Daoist how you, it's too late. If you had chosen to go all out earlier, perhaps I really wouldn't have been a match for you. However, now that you've burned half of your qi and blood, you won't be able to block my punch. Under the punch, Daoist How Yu's palm print only lasted for a few seconds before shattering. The huge power formed a ring of energy that spread in all directions. Bang! Daoist How Yu was instantly hit. His entire body exploded and turned into a bloody mist. Only his head was left hanging in the air. With a look of horror on his face, he actually fled into the distance. This was the power of a true immortal. As long as the head was not destroyed, even if the body was destroyed, it could be recovered. Of course, Daoist How You would probably not be able to recover to his peak state without 100 years of time. Trying to escape? Do you think it's that easy? Li Changsheng turned into a huge palm print and suddenly chased after him. At this moment, Daoist How You was not much of a threat to him. Stop! When Daoist How You saw that Li Changsheng was about to kill him, he hurriedly charged at Li Changsheng, wanting to stop Li Changsheng. However, with his strength, there was no way he could stop it. Li Changsheng only casually waved his hand and sent Daoist How You flying. Everyone watched this scene with their mouths agape. A Tao integration stage, perfected immortal, was beaten until only his head was left. Moreover, it looked like he would be completely destroyed by Li Changsheng at any moment. He's going to kill an immortal. Are we really going to witness the fall of a perfected immortal today? If Li Changsheng succeeds in killing an immortal today, who in the Tiandu star zone will be able to stop him in the future? Everyone had mixed feelings. Meanwhile, Shengguan Shui, Yuan Chushue, Chunling, and the others all breathed a sigh of relief. Just as Li Changsheng's colossal palm print was about to grab Daoist How Yu's head, the sky suddenly trembled. Then, a 300-meter-long sword light and a purple cauldron descended from the sky. In terms of strength, it was not inferior to Daoist How Yu's full strength attack. It was the perfected immortals of the Purple Cloud Sacred Ground and the Tai Sword Sect. Legend had it that all three sacred grounds had perfected immortals. Li Changsheng had no choice but to withdraw his colossal palm print. He clenched his fist and faced the sword light and the purple cauldron. Boom! He punched the sword light and scattered it. At the same time, he swung his ardent dragon spear and smashed the small cauldron, sending it flying back. At the same time, he kept coughing up blood. In the next second, two figures walked out of the void and rushed toward Li Changsheng at the same time. The sword light and the purple cauldron returned and hit Li Changsheng's body at the same time. Bam! Li Changsheng, who was already at the end of his rope, was hit in an instant. His body flew backward and crashed into Sky Capital Peak behind him. This kid has the potential to become a great emperor. Moreover, his luck is heaven-defying. It's hard to kill him. However, if he doesn't die, our three sacred grounds, including you and me, will be punished in the future. An old man with a long sword said. He was the Tai Sword Sect's perfected immortal, crazy sword Taoist. I understand. The man holding the purple cauldron waved his hand, and the purple cauldron rushed toward Li Changsheng. When it got close, it suddenly exploded. The terrifying energy instantly flattened the mountains and rivers within a 100-mile radius. Countless people who could not dodge in time were swept by the energy and turned into dust. The other party had actually detonated the Purple Cloud Sacred Grounds heritage treasure. I will remember the Purple Cloud Sacred Grounds contribution. The 10 great ancient countries that were supposed to be bestowed to Li Changsheng will belong to the Purple Cloud Sacred Ground as compensation. Crazy Sword Taoist said. At this moment, the violent energy was still surging. Sky Capital Peak, which had remained unmoved, began to shake violently. By the time the energy subsided, half a day had passed. Li Chongqing's figure was nowhere to be seen. Only the mountain river ruler, ardent dragon spear, and a few other magic treasures were scattered on the ground. No matter how strong that Li Chongqing's physical body is, he should have been turned into ashes. These magic treasures will be divided equally among our 3 sacred grounds. The old man from Tai Sword sect said. The head of Taoist Hao Yu, who had escaped, returned. Thank you for your help, fellow Taoists. Taoist Hao Yu said. Our 3 sacred grounds have helped each other. Brother Hao Yu, you don't have to be so courteous. Next, we should discuss how to divide these magic treasures. This outsider's luck is really strong. None of these magic treasures are ordinary. Chapter 883. Li Chongqing was dead, and everyone present had mixed feelings. Such a genius with the potential to become a great emperor could not escape the fate of death. To be able to fight against a true immortal and almost kill enlightened Hao Yu. This Li Chongqing's aptitude is simply earth-shattering. Enlightened Fu Tong sighed. Originally, if he was willing to obediently hand over Sky Capital Peak, this would not have happened. In the end, he only has himself to blame. Su Taibai also sighed. This is the result of being reckless. He thought that with his strength, no one in the world could deal with him. But he forgot that apart from enlightened Hao Yu, our 3 sacred grounds still have 2 true immortals. Not only were the 3 Saint Lords sighing, but the surrounding people were also sighing. They had witnessed the birth of a genius, and they had also witnessed the fall of a genius. He was like a meteor streaking across the sky, and there was a moment of glory, but it was a flash in the pan. This Li Chongqing has been blasted to pieces. Unfortunately, I still want to get his body refining technique from him. His body is really too strong. Enlightened Hao Yu, who only had 1 head left, was now shrouded in a white robe. He did not seem so terrifying, and his voice was somewhat regretful. If Brother Yu Chanzi had not detonated the treasure of the Purple Cloud Holy Land in time, even if the 2 of us had joined forces, given how cunning this man is, he might have been able to escape. Although we did not obtain his body refining technique, this is already the best outcome. The Tai Sword sect's true immortal, crazy sword Taoist said, although we did not get his body refining technique, the magic treasures he left behind are not ordinary. As he spoke, he waved his hand, and the mountain and river ruler appeared in his hand. A treasure-level magic treasure can be used as the most precious treasure of the sect. The Heart Wishful Sword was also in his hand. I will keep it, and the rest will be divided equally between the 2 of you. Crazy Sword Taoist finished speaking. Yu Chanzi took the Jinwu seal and the Black Evil Mountain into his hands. I'll take these 2 items. The Black Evil Mountain has not been completely refined into a transcendent artifact, so there's still a lot of room for improvement. As for the seal, although I can't tell its grade, the aura on it is very ancient. It's definitely not an ordinary item. Neither Taoist Hao Yu nor Taoist Qi Jian objected to Yu Chanzi's actions. After all, the Purple Cloud Sacred Ground had detonated a treasure of their sect and killed Li Chongqing. The Jinwu seal was the most mysterious and peculiar magical treasure left behind by Li Chongqing, but they all tacitly agreed to let Yu Chanzi keep it. In the end, I will take the soul-amassing banner and the ardent dragon spear. Taoist Bright Moon picked up the 2 treasures. The things that Li Chongqing had left behind were all divided up by them. That brat's Qianquan bag must have been destroyed by the explosion. There must be a lot of things inside. What a pity! After Taoist Bright Moon finished speaking, he bid farewell to the 2 of them. Fellow Taoists, my body is severely injured. I must return to the sect to recuperate. I'll take my leave first. With that, he flew to Taoist Fu Tong's side. Taoist Fu Tong left with Taoist Hao Yu. Immediately after, Taoist Qi Jian and Yu Chanzi left with the people of the Purple Cloud Sacred Ground and the Tai Sword sect respectively. The explosion of the Purple Cauldron had affected countless people, but these people did not even bother to look at them. In their eyes, they were just ants. The onlookers gradually dispersed. The battle had come to an end with Li Changxing's death. This was the ending that everyone had expected, but the process was somewhat unexpected. "Let's leave too." Daoist Yishan walked to Qinling Er's side and said. His heart was also somewhat complicated. He felt sorry for Li Changxing's death, but he also heaved a sigh of relief. Because he had drawn a clear line with Li Changxing, he was afraid of Li Changxing's revenge. Now that this worry had been removed, it was just that such a genius had died like this. Anyone would feel sorry for him. "Sister Shangwan, Sister Yuan, I'll take my leave first." Qinling bit her lips, tears welling up in her eyes. Li Changxing's death was a big blow to her, but she knew that there was no use in staying. "I'm leaving too." Yuan Chuxue said to Shangwan Shui. "Saint Shangwan, I'll take my leave now. I hope you have the opportunity to visit my white-robed sect." "Okay." Shangwan Shui nodded, but her gaze was fixed on the capital sky peak in a daze. After everyone had left, a few figures in white came to Shangwan Shui. They were her fellow disciples of the Snow Spirit Palace. "Sister Shangwan, we should return to the east." "No, you guys go back first. I want to be alone." These junior sisters looked at each other and finally sighed. "Sister Shangwan, remember to return to the sect as soon as possible. Don't let the palace master worry." Saintess Shangwan. At this time, the Eastern Heavens Pride, Yi Fei Guang, also came over. "Li Changxing is dead. I admit that Li Changxing's talent was extraordinary. Among the younger generation of the Sky Capital Starfield, there was almost no one who could compare to him. But he's dead, that's the truth. You should walk out of your pain and welcome a new life." Yi Fei Guang seemed to be implying something. But Shangwan Shui was looking at the capital sky peak, ignoring him. Yi Fei Guang's eyes flashed with a trace of disappointment. "Sister Shangwan, I'll take my leave too." After everyone had left, only Shangwan Shui was left on the capital sky peak. Shangwan Shui was different from the others. Everyone else believed that Li Changxing was dead, but only she didn't think so. She gave the Snow Wan egg to Li Changxing as a congratulatory gift. Because Shangwan Shui had been hugging the Snow Wan egg to cultivate, she had formed a faint connection with the egg, and in her senses, the Snow Wan egg hadn't been destroyed, which meant that Li Changxing was very likely still alive. Of course, there was only a glimmer of hope. After all, it was very likely that the Snow Wan egg had been exiled into the depths of the void along with the broken Chinquan bag during the battle. But as long as there was a glimmer of hope, Shangwan Shui was still willing to believe. So Shangwan Shui stayed. She built a bamboo house at the foot of the capital sky peak and lived there. When many people heard about the battle and came to watch, they all saw Shangwan Shui at the foot of the capital sky peak. So the rumor of Li Changxing's death and Shangwan Shui's infatuation spread like wildfire on the Sky Capital Star. There were even novelists who made up stories and circulated them in the streets, touching countless scholars and talented women. In the blink of an eye, 3 years had passed. Although the shocking battle was still being talked about by many people, the popularity of it had obviously died down. At first, the 3 Holy Lands would still send people to check on the capital sky peak, but later they completely stopped paying attention to it. Are you really no longer in this world? Shangwan Shui looked at the towering capital sky peak. It had been 3 years. She had waited here for 3 years, and the glimmer of hope in her heart was gradually extinguished. At this time, a white crane flew from the sky and landed beside Shangwan Shui. Finally, it turned into a folded envelope. Shangwan Shui opened the envelope, and her pretty face suddenly changed. Her eyes were instantly filled with anger. Because Shangwan Shui and Li Changxing had a close relationship, they were hostile to the Dark Sect. The Snow Spirit Palace was besieged by the remaining forces of the Dark Sect, and now it was at the point of life and death. She looked back at the capital sky peak and finally gritted her teeth, turned into a white shadow, and flew to the sky. She had to return because of the crisis of the sect. Just an hour after Shangwan Shui left, the earth suddenly began to shake. Countless rocks fell from the towering capital sky peak, and a touch of dark light gradually appeared. Chapter 884. After leaving Tiandu Peak, Shangwan Shui rushed all the way back to the east. The moment she stepped into the sect, she could not help frowning, because everything was normal for the disciples in the sect. There was no danger of being besieged by the dark sect, as described in the letter. In an instant, Shangwan Shui realized that she had been deceived. As soon as she stepped into the sect, she saw her master, Evil Moon, sitting on the main seat and looking at her with a smile. Shui, you're back. I have prepared a banquet. You came back at the right time today. Holy Sun Yi will come later. Yi Fei Guang? Shangwan Shui frowned and said, what does it have to do with me, whether he comes or not? And didn't you send me a letter saying that the sect has encountered a catastrophe and you don't know where it is? Hearing his disciple's question, Evil Moon smiled and said, if I didn't send you a letter like this, how could you come back? Then I wonder why Master didn't hesitate to deceive this disciple to come back. Of course, it's for your marriage. Evil Moon stood up and said, Yi Fei Guang came to propose marriage a few days ago. At that time, you were not there. I have already agreed for you. People say that you and Yi Fei Guang are the golden couple of the East. If you marry him, our Snow Spirit Palace will have a strong marriage with the Yi family, the #1 family in the East. This is a happy event. Hearing Evil Moon's words, Shangwan Shui's face darkened. Master, you didn't ask for my permission. How could you agree to the marriage proposal of the Yi family? If you want to marry him, go ahead. I won't marry him. What did you say? Evil Moon's face suddenly darkened, and he glared at her. What a rebellious disciple. Are you rebelling? You have been waiting for Li Changsheng for 3 years in front of all the decent people of Tiandu Star. During this period, there were so many rumors. Why didn't you think about your sect at all? Now you dare to disobey me. You have to marry Yi Fei Guang whether you want or not. No, I won't. Shangwan Shui turned to leave, but found that the door of the hall closed automatically. Her face suddenly changed. Master, you activated the formation of the big formation? Yes, if I didn't activate the formation and you turn away, how could I explain it to him? Shangwan Shui still wanted to say something, but Evil Moon had already disappeared from his seat. Shui, I will imprison you in the main hall. Reflect on your actions here for me. The matter of marrying Yi Fei Guang has already been decided by Master and the Yi clan. It is not up to you to mess around. While Shangwan Shui was being held captive in the sect, an earthquake seemed to have taken place within a radius of 100 miles around Sky Capital Peak, causing the ground to crack open. On Sky Capital Peak, the stone skin peeled off, revealing a dark luster. When the stone skin completely fell off, the entire Sky Capital Peak turned into a giant sword inserted into the ground, with the words Sky Capital written on it. Boom! With a loud bang, the huge sword rose from the ground and flew into the sky. The ground around it instantly caved in. At the same time, a figure flew out from the ground and into the sky. The huge black sword kept shrinking as it was held in his hand. The 3 holy lands went back on their words and divided up my treasures. Today it's time for blood to be repaid with blood. A voice resounded through the sky. 10 minutes later, the figure left on his sword. A few hundred miles away, in a mountain range, a group of people was advancing in an orderly manner. The leader was an old man, holding a long spear and riding a dragon blood horse, looking majestic. Father, this time we were ordered by the emperor to hunt in the mountains. If we can't find the white tiger, how can we explain it to the emperor? A young man with a pale face had a long sword at his waist. However, the sword was decorated with gaudy decorations. It was very beautiful, but it was obviously not easy to use. Kanshu, you have been weak and sickly since you were young. Our Mei clan has been conferred the title of Marquis because of our military achievements. After your father passes away, you will be powerless. How can you convince the others? Now that the court is surrounded by tigers and wolves, without me, you will be devoured until there is nothing left. This time, I was ordered by the emperor to hunt in the mountains not only to please the emperor, but more importantly, the white tiger's gallbladder is the best medicine to cure your body. Only when you become strong, Our Mei clan can continue. Father's good intentions, I understand. The young man named Mei Kanshu showed some determination in his eyes. This group of men and horses continued to advance and soon entered the depths of the forest. Just as they entered, there was a sudden gust of wind, which carried the smell of blood. Not good, white tiger. I didn't expect to encounter it just after entering the mountains. Mei Jian clenched the long spear in his hand. A white tiger appeared in front of them. The word king on the tiger's forehead was constantly trembling, and its eyes were suffused with a blood-red glow. Attack! With an order, the soldiers behind him rushed forward and aimed countless arrows at the white tiger. However, the white tiger let out a long roar, and the soldiers were blown away. Mei Jian, who was sitting on the dragon blood horse, had an aghast expression. Oh no, there's an error in the intelligence. This white tiger is definitely not equivalent to the innate realm. I am afraid it is even more powerful than the Vajra realm. Sure, quickly escape. I am afraid father will die here today. No. Mei Kanshu shook his head and said, How can I abandon father and leave? At this moment, the white tiger was about to slaughter all of their men. Its eyes revealed a human-like playfulness, and it suddenly pounced on the skinny young man. Evil beast! Mei Jian quickly raised a spear to block, but he realized that the white tiger changed its route at the last moment and slapped at his head. It was actually a diversion. It's over. Who would have thought that a tiger would actually use tricks? Mei Jian couldn't withdraw his move anymore. He watched as the tiger's claw slapped at his head. With the strength of this tiger, if he was hit, his head would probably be smashed. This white tiger is not bad. I can use it as my mount. Just when the father and son were in despair, an indifferent voice echoed. Then, they saw the white tiger's tail being grabbed and pulled back by more than a meter. The tiger's claw brushed past Mei Dian's face, which scared him out of his wits. Roar! When the white tiger saw that someone dared to grab its tail, it immediately let out an angry roar. It turned its head and opened its bloody mouth, biting at Li Changsheng. In response, Li Changsheng gently waved his hand, and the white tiger was sent flying. It crashed into a tree that was as thick as a human and broke it into two. When it landed on the ground, it wanted to get up, but Li Changsheng rode on its back. The white tiger used all its strength, but couldn't get up. It was as if a mountain was pressing down on its body. After more than 10 minutes, the white tiger finally accepted its fate and whimpered to show its submission. It seems like my luck is pretty good to possess the ancient white tiger bloodline. After the white tiger submitted, Li Changsheng then left the white tiger's body. That white tiger was extremely ferocious just a moment ago, but now it was as obedient as a kitten. Chapter 885. Thank you, benefactor, for saving our lives. Mei Jian and his son, Mei Cangshu, quickly came forward to express their gratitude. It's nothing much, Li Changsheng casually said, and was about to leave with the white tiger. Benefactor, wait a moment, Mei Jian said. Li Changsheng turned around and asked, What's the matter? Benefactor, I have a presumptuous request. Mei Jian hesitated for a moment and said, My son was born with a weak body and needs the white tiger's gallbladder to recuperate. I wonder if Benefactor can sell this white tiger to me? Any price is fine. Just as Mei Jian finished his words, the white tiger let out a roar and opened its mouth, revealing its sinister teeth. Mei Jian was so frightened that he took 2 steps back. Do you think I am someone who lacks money? Li Changsheng's lips curled into a playful smile. He had saved this father and son pair, but they wanted to kill his mount. This was too much. Mei Jian seemed to have realized that his actions were inappropriate as he revealed an awkward expression. At the same time, his eyes were filled with disappointment. Mei Cangshu was his only son, and the Mei family still needed him to continue. This white tiger was the only hope to cure his son's illness. From your attire, you should be an official of the imperial court. This is the Great Qian Nation's territory. You must be from the Great Qian Nation, right? Li Changsheng suddenly asked. I won't hide it from Benefactor. We are. The Great Qian Nation was an ancient nation under the rule of the Tai Sword sect. This was also the reason why Li Chongqing appeared here. He wanted revenge. Back then, the Tai sword sect's infatuated sword Taoist had divided his treasures. Therefore, he decided to start from the Tai sword sect. However, the Tai sword sect was very mysterious. Li Chongqing had asked around and couldn't find the location of the Tai sword sect. Therefore, he decided to start from the ancient nation under the rule of the Tai sword sect. Other than using the white tiger's gallbladder, there are other methods to cure your son's illness. Li Chongqing suddenly said. Really? Mei Dian and his son revealed a pleasantly surprised expression. Li Chongqing had subdued the white tiger, and in their eyes, he was already a celestial being. They were all smart people and naturally understood the meaning behind Li Chongqing's words. Sir, please save my son. As long as you can save my son, I will promise you anything, including my old life. Why would I want your life? Curing your son is as easy as lifting a finger for me, but you have to take me to see your emperor. That's simple. Mei Dian and his son were dumbfounded. They thought that Li Chongqing would demand an exorbitant price, but they never thought that his request would be so simple. It's that simple. When I see your emperor, I will cure your son's illness. All right, I promise you. Mei Dian nodded heavily. He knew that Li Chongqing's meeting with His Majesty was definitely not an ordinary matter, but for the sake of his son, he couldn't care less. All right, we can return now. Li Chongqing sat cross-legged on the white tiger's back. Mei Dian led his remaining subordinates back the way they came. His dragon blood horse's quality was extremely high, but because of the white tiger beside it, its body trembled as it walked. Li Chongqing sat cross-legged on the white tiger's back, and a simple and unadorned sword was placed between his knees. On the sword, one could vaguely see the two words Tiandu written in ancient characters. The Tiandu peak had actually turned into the Tiandu sword. When the purple cauldron exploded, Li Chongqing indeed felt that he was going to die. But at the last moment, a powerful suction force suddenly came from the Tiandu peak, and his entire body was sucked inside. After that, Li Chongqing found himself in a mysterious space. The space was filled with terrifying sword qi, and it was cutting his body. At that time, he was in a heavily injured state. He had just escaped from the attack of two true immortals, and then he fell into an endless battle with the sword qi. The sword qi was endless, and Li Chongqing finally survived after a difficult battle. After that, he found that every time he withstood a round of sword qi, there would be more sword intent in his body. The sword qi was endless. Li Chongqing didn't know how much time had passed, but he finally broke through all the sword qi. In his dantian, the sword qi had already formed a lake, and it occupied an area with the power of thunder and the green lotus seedling. At the same time, he instantly understood his situation. He was in the space of the Tiandu sword, and the sword qi that he had been resisting for 3 years was actually refining the Tiandu sword. After all the sword qi was refined, the Tiandu sword had officially become his magic treasure, a Taoist artifact. Li Chongqing stroked the dark Tiandu sword. Although he still hadn't broken through to the earth immortal stage, with this sword in hand, even the 3 true immortals were nothing in his eyes. 3 years ago, you almost destroyed my body and soul. 3 years later, I will make you pay 100-fold. Li Chongqing muttered to himself, and a murderous aura seeped out of his body. The white tiger he was sitting on actually crawled on the ground and trembled. Mei Dian and his son also felt their hearts throbbing at that moment, but this feeling disappeared in the blink of an eye. The white tiger stood up and continued to move forward. Li Chongqing, on the other hand, closed his eyes as if nothing had happened. They rode on the dragon blood horses forward. Although the speed was already very fast, Li Chongqing still felt that it was a little slow, especially when they passed by a mountain range. Mei Dian told Li Chongqing that they had to go around the mountain range, and it would take them 3 days to travel. Li Chongqing frowned, and he directly used his magic power to form a giant palm print, which grabbed Mei Dian's team and his subordinates and flew directly into the sky, crossing the mountain range. When they reached the other side of the mountain range, Li Chongqing put everyone down. Mei Jian and the others looked at Li Changsheng with eyes full of reverence. This was a great magic, and even the immortal master in the capital couldn't do it. When they were grabbed by Li Changsheng and flew into the sky, some of the soldiers were scared out of their wits. So Li Changsheng asked them to stop and rest for a while. He also found a rock to sit on, and the white tiger quietly crawled by his side. At this moment, the youth with a weak body, Mei Sangshu, walked over and knelt down in front of Li Changsheng. "Mister, your magic power is heavenly, and Sangshu wants to become your disciple." Mei Sangshu clearly didn't discuss this with his father. Seeing his son's actions, Mei Jian couldn't help but frown. His Mei family had been a marquis into Qian for generations, and he always wanted his son to inherit the title to bring glory to his ancestors. Although Li Changsheng had great magic power, if his son followed Li Changsheng to cultivate, then who would inherit the family business? You really want to become my disciple? You don't want the family business in a Qian? You don't want the title? You don't want to bring glory to your ancestors and your bright future? Li Changsheng looked at the skinny youth in front of him. Along the way, he had carefully observed Mei Sangshu, and he admired him. Although his body was weak, he was very smart and filial to his father. He was a promising talent. Chapter 886. I just want to cultivate immortal techniques, and I don't care about fame. However, as long as you become my disciple, you will have to follow me, and you will even become the enemy of the immortal you once respected. Li Changsheng had heard from Mei Sangshu that he admired the cultivators of the Tai sword sect very much. Hence, he asked that question. Since I've become your disciple, you're the only one in my heart. Anyone who goes against you will be my enemy. Mei Sangshu said without hesitation. Li Changsheng nodded slightly. He was very satisfied with his answer. Okay, since you want to be my disciple, I'll give you a chance. This white tiger is something that the emperor of the great Qian dynasty wants, and I'll give it to you now. When the time comes, if the emperor asks you for it, you must not give it to him. Hearing Li Changsheng's words, Mei Jian panicked. The white tiger was in Li Changsheng's hands. Given Li Changsheng's mysterious identity, the emperor of the great Qian dynasty might not dare to forcefully ask for it. However, it was different in Mei Sangshu's hands. The Mei family had been the emperor's subject for generations, and if they dared to reject him, they would be committing treason. When the time comes, the emperor of the great Qian dynasty would fly into a rage, and Mei Sangshu would be in trouble. Li Changsheng was letting Mei Sangshu make a choice between him and the emperor of the great Qian dynasty. However, before he could say anything, Mei Sangshu nodded and said, "Okay, don't worry. I'll definitely protect the white tiger, and no one will be able to take it away." Hearing his son's words, Mei Jian couldn't help but sigh. He knew his son's temper well. Although he was thin and weak, he was a man of his words. Since he said that, he would definitely do it even if he had to risk being killed. My silly son. Mei Jian knew that the matter had already been settled, and he hung his head low. After resting for a while, Mei Jian got his subordinates to start a fire. After eating, they continued to move forward. After walking for about 2 days, a huge city appeared on the horizon in front of them. It should be the capital of the great Qian dynasty, Pei capital. As the Eastern Mountain Marquis of the great Qian Empire, Mei Dian's status was extremely high. The moment he appeared, the generals guarding the king's city immediately came out to welcome him. When he saw the white tiger that Li Changsheng was sitting on, he said in admiration, "The Eastern Mountain Marquis is truly amazing. He actually helped His Majesty capture the white tiger. If His Majesty knew of this news, he would definitely be very happy." Mei Dian's expression turned bitter when he heard the general's words. If I really did capture the white tiger, then that would be great. The emperor would be very happy, and I don't know how many things he would bestow upon me. However, that foolish son of his had already promised Li Changsheng to reject the emperor's request and go against the emperor's orders. I can imagine that the emperor would be furious, and the Mei family would probably be implicated. The news of the Eastern Mountain Marquis capturing the white tiger immediately spread throughout King City. Along the way, countless people on the streets came out to watch. The Eastern Mountain Marquis is truly amazing. His Majesty sent a few batches of people to capture the white tiger, but they all returned without success. The Eastern Mountain Marquis is indeed worthy of being the #1 family of generals in Dachien. Along the way, the surrounding citizens kept praising him. However, Mei Diane's heart gradually sank to the bottom. They were obviously praising him to death. It seems that I have to return to the Marquis residence and come up with a foolproof plan. Just as Mei Dian was thinking about it, he saw a general in black armor appear in front of him. His Majesty has decreed that the Eastern Mountain Marquis is invited to the palace. Mei Dian, who had received the imperial decree, had no choice but to give up on the idea of returning home. He arrived at the palace where a dragon carriage was parked quietly at the entrance of the palace. The civil and military officials of Dachien were all around, and the Emperor of Dachien was actually personally welcoming him at the entrance of the palace. It was such an honor, but Mei Dian couldn't bring himself to smile. Even Mei Songshu's expression turned sullen. The grander the Emperor of Dachien made it, it meant that he valued the white tiger. The Mei family had obtained the white tiger, but refused to give it to the Emperor of Dachien. Minister Mei, I'm very happy to hear that you brought back the white tiger. You are really a pillar of Dachien. The young emperor, who was wearing a dragon robe, came forward to greet her personally. At the same time, he instructed his subordinates behind him, lock up this white tiger first. This white tiger's entire body is a treasure. Minister Mei must have spent a lot of effort to capture it. Don't let it escape. Hearing the emperor's words, the soldier was about to take the white tiger away. Wait a minute. At this moment, Mei Songshu stood up and said, Your Majesty, you are mistaken. I don't intend to give this white tiger to you. As soon as he said that, the smile on the young emperor's face froze. The surrounding air seemed to have solidified, and it was so quiet that one could hear a pin drop. Everyone looked at Mei Songshu in disbelief. Even if the emperor wanted Mei Songshu's life, Mei Songshu had to give it to him. Now, Mei Songshu actually dared to reject the emperor. He was too bold. According to the laws of Dachien, this was a capital offense. As soon as Mei Songshu said that, all the officials of Dachien were dumbfounded. Audacious Mei Songshu, how dare you defy the emperor's orders? Are you tired of living? Immediately, a black-faced general stood up and reprimanded Mei Chongsheng. The Mei family has been loyal for generations. How can there be such a rebellious official like you? You are smearing the reputation of the Mei family's ancestors. Another official stood up, but he was trying to draw a line between Mei Songshu and the Mei family. After all, Mei Songshu's words were enough to kill him, and the Mei family couldn't be implicated by him. Mei Songshu, you have been frail and sickly since you were young, but I still gave you preferential treatment. Could it be that the Emperor's grace is so great that you can't recognize yourself and say such disrespectful words? The Emperor of Dachien took a deep breath, and his face was filled with anger. Ka 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 ka. On both sides, the armored soldiers had already surrounded Mei Songshu and the others. Men, take this plum treasury to the imperial prison and execute him 3 days later. East Mountain Marquis Mei Dian, you have failed to teach your son well. You will be stripped of your Marquis title, and the entire Mei family will be demoted to commoners. Also, no one can refuse what I want. Lock up this white tiger as well. Tomorrow, peel off its skin and pull out its tendons. Use the white tiger's skin to make a leather coat for me. The Emperor of the Qin dynasty was extremely infuriated as he gave out orders and almost immediately sent the wealthy family to hell. It's over. Mei Jian was dejected. If he had known that this would be the outcome, he wouldn't have taken the initiative to hunt the white tiger. On the other hand, Mei Songshu stood still. Since he had already decided to follow Li Chongsheng, he had already expected this to happen when he said those words. It was a test that Li Chongsheng had given him, and he believed that Li Chongsheng would ensure that his family wouldn't be ruined. Indeed, just as the soldiers were about to take the Mei family away, Li Chongsheng stood up. Mei Songshu is already my disciple, so no one can question him. Li Chongqing's words meant that Mei Songshu had passed the test. Who are you? The emperor of the Qian dynasty stared at Li Chongqing coldly. I'm someone you can't afford to offend. Chapter 887. Where did this maniac come from? Take him down. The emperor of the great Qian dynasty was even more enraged. Mei Songshu had already infuriated him, but he didn't expect another guy to challenge his authority. A few soldiers immediately rushed towards Li Chongqing, but no one could get close to him. Li Chongqing waved his hand, and they flew out one by one. This time, the emperor of the great Qian dynasty's expression changed slightly as he knew that Li Chongqing was an expert. Let me deal with you. The black-faced general who was reprimanding Mei Songshu pulled out the long saber in his hand and slashed it at Li Chongqing. The black-faced general was the founding general of the great Qian dynasty, and his status was higher than that of the East Mountain Marquis, Mei Dian. He was known for his powerful martial arts. At this moment, he was rather domineering. However, in the next second, Li Chongqing simply pointed his finger at him, and he was sent flying before crashing onto the ground. At this moment, the civil and military officials of the great Qian dynasty, including the emperor, all had a change of expression. Everyone could tell that Li Chongqing was not to be trifled with. Hurry and retreat. The emperor of the great Qian dynasty couldn't be bothered to punish the Mei family and retreated back to the palace while surrounded by many officials. Sir, what should we do next? Mei Songshu looked at Li Chongqing. If your Mei family wants to survive, you have to show the emperor of the great Qian dynasty that you have the power to destroy the country. Next, the emperor of the great Qian dynasty should be looking for the immortal master of the Tai sword sect to deal with me. Li Chongqing said with a smile. That was his goal, to force the people of the Tai sword sect to appear and find the location of the Tai sword sect. In the process, helping the Mei family save their lives was just a side benefit. Understand. Mei Songshu nodded. He was very smart and almost instantly understood the meaning behind Li Chongqing's words. After the emperor of the great Qian dynasty retreated to the palace, a large number of soldiers and horses appeared not long after. There were also waves of arrows that shot towards Li Chongqing from the walls of the palace. However, such power couldn't hurt Li Chongqing at all. Li Chongqing waved his hand casually and swept them away. As for those arrows, before they could even land, they were shattered into pieces within 100 feet of Li Chongqing. Li Chongqing was like a mountain that stood in front of the city wall. No matter what the great Qian Empire did, they couldn't move him at all. He was like a sharp sword that was hanging above the great Qian Empire's head. Quickly, invite the immortal master here. The emperor of the great Qian dynasty paced around anxiously in the great Qian dynasty hall. Not long after, a figure appeared above the imperial city. Your Majesty, Master Immortal is here. A subordinate came in to report. All right, Master Immortal, you'll definitely be able to take down that devil. The emperor of the great Qian dynasty and the officials all heaved a sigh of relief. They had been worshipping the Tai sword sect for generations. That was why it could continue to this day. That demon dared to come to the palace and provoke us. I hope that Immortal Master will not kill him directly and leave him to me. I want to cut him into 1,000 pieces to vent the hatred in my heart. At this moment, in front of the imperial city, a young Taoist in a white robe was staring coldly at Li Chongqing. You're really bold. Don't you know that the great Qian dynasty is an ancient country that is under the protection of the Tai sword sect? How dare you come here and behave atrociously? Quickly surrender and follow me to the emperor of the great Qian dynasty to receive your punishment. This young man was only an inner sect disciple of the Tai sword sect. He was ordered by his master to guard the capital of the great Qian dynasty. His strength was only above average among the younger generation of the Tai sword sect. However, the disciples of the Tai sword sect were born with a sense of superiority. Hence, even though Li Chongqing had already displayed extraordinary strength, he still didn't take Li Chongqing seriously. Haha, if the great Qian dynasty wasn't a vassal state of the Tai sword sect, I wouldn't have come to find trouble with him. Li Chongqing sneered, since you're a disciple of the Tai Sword sect, send a message to your sect now and ask them to send someone to save you. Arrogant. To deal with a small fry like you. There's no need for my sect to make a move. The young Taoist snorted coldly. The treasured sword on his back whizzed out and turned into a green light that slashed towards Li Changsheng. However, in the next moment, the sword light that was flying towards him was gently caught by Li Changsheng's 2 fingers. Then, with a flick of his finger, the treasured sword that was forged with tempered steel was shattered into pieces. How is this possible? The young Taoist's expression changed. Just as he was about to make a move, Li Changsheng had already raised his palm and turned it into a giant palm print that held up the Taoist in front of him. The Taoist kept struggling, but he realized that all his quintessential essence had been sealed. Only then did he realize what kind of person he was facing. Now tell me, where's your sect? I can spare your life. Li Changsheng said to the young Taoist. Don't even think about it. Although the young Taoist didn't know what Li Changsheng was trying to do, he was stubborn. It's fine if you don't tell me. I'm sure you're not the only one who knows the location of the Tai Sword sect. As the country that the Tai Sword sect serves, the royal family of the Great Qian dynasty definitely knows the exact location. If you don't tell me, I'll kill you and ask the emperor of the Great Qian dynasty. With that, Li Changsheng raised his palm. Okay, I'll tell you. The young Taoist lowered his head as if he had accepted his fate. He knew that Li Changsheng was telling the truth. Even if he didn't say it, others would too. There was no need to lose his life because of this. That's right. Li Changsheng laughed. At this moment, the royal family of the Great Qian dynasty was in a mess. Master Immortal has been captured. Even Master Immortal is no match for that person. What should we do? The emperor of the Great Qian dynasty was really panicking. In the past, the people of the Tai Sword sect were synonymous with invincibility. No matter what difficulties the Great Qian dynasty encountered, the Tai Sword sect would be able to resolve them easily. Now that even the Master Immortal of the Tai Sword sect had been captured, the Great Qian dynasty had no power to stop Li Changsheng at all. However, Li Changsheng didn't continue to attack the people of the Great Qian dynasty. He had already achieved his goal of forcing out the disciples of the Tai Sword sect. Emperor of the Great Qian dynasty, listen up. I'm going to find trouble with the Tai Sword sect. During this period of time, if you dare to touch the Mei family, I'll definitely flatten the Great Qian dynasty and make the entire royal family pay for it. After Li Changsheng finished speaking, he led the young Taoist priest and left the imperial city. Mei Sangshu followed closely behind. After hearing the news of Li Changsheng's departure, the emperor of the Great Qian dynasty finally heaved a sigh of relief. Your Majesty, that demon has already left. How should we deal with the Mei family? A general of the Great Qian dynasty asked. That demon actually dared to find trouble with the Tai Sword sect. He'll definitely be killed by the Tai Sword sect and won't be able to return. However, it's better to be safe than sorry. Before we have definite news of the demon's death, don't touch the Mei family. Get someone to control the Mei family. Once the demon is dead, we'll execute the entire Mei family. After the emperor of the Great Qian dynasty finished speaking, all the officials accepted the order. Many of them who had a good relationship with the Mei family sighed secretly. The Mei family is the Eastern Mountain Marquis, but I didn't expect that they would have such an unfilial son like Mei Sangshu. Not only did he help the evil, he even harmed his family. After leaving the imperial city, Li Changsheng led the young Taoist priest to the Tai Sword sect. As Mei Sangshu had already passed Li Changsheng's test, Li Changsheng also cured his weak body and imparted him a set of techniques for him to cultivate. I don't think there's any need for you to cultivate. After all, you're all going to die when you reach the Tai Sword sect. The young Taoist priest sneered at Mei Sangshu. Any true disciple of the Tai Sword sect can beat you until you piss your pants. Slap! As soon as he finished speaking, the disciple of the Tai Sword sect was sent flying. A purplish-red palm print appeared on his face. It was Li Changsheng, who was sitting there with his eyes closed, who taught him a lesson. This time, I'm going to find trouble with that Tao reunion perfected immortal. Li Changsheng said coldly. Although the young Taoist priest was slapped by Li Changsheng and blood was flowing out of his mouth, he still sneered in disdain when he heard Li Changsheng's words. In his eyes, Li Changsheng was a lunatic. Wasn't finding trouble with a Tao reunion perfected immortal the same as courting death? Chapter 888. Hurry up, I'm in a hurry, Li Changsheng said to the young Taoist priest. The young Taoist priest's name was Wu Neng, which reminded Li Changsheng of Zhu Beiji in Journey to the West. A Taoist priest named a monk after Zhu Beiji, which made Li Changsheng despise him. Are you in a hurry to die? Wu Neng said unhappily. As soon as he said that, Li Changsheng slapped him, sending him flying 7 to 8 meters away. Why do you hit people for no reason? Wu Neng glared at Li Changsheng angrily. If you continue to dawdle, not only will I hit you, I'll chop you into 8 pieces, cook you, and feed you to my white tiger. As soon as he said that, the white tiger seemed to be hungry, drooling as it stared at Wu Neng with greedy eyes, which made Wu Neng's scalp tingle. After walking for another 100 li, they stopped by a small stream. Although with Li Changsheng's current strength, if he were to directly carry the two of them and fly over, he would be able to arrive very quickly. However, this Wu Neng said that he had never flown before and could only recognize the way on ground. This made Li Changsheng want to push his head into the latrine and let him eat shit. He started a fire by the stream and asked mate Sangshu to catch some game. After Li Changsheng's treatment, mate Sangshu's body was no longer weak. Instead, he cultivated the cultivation technique that Li Changsheng passed on to him. He walked as if he was flying and was full of energy. Li Changsheng had investigated mate Sangshu. Mate Sangshu's aptitude was not very good, but his brain was really smart. Li Changsheng only taught him once, and he could master it. This made Li Changsheng feel like he had picked up a treasure. Mate Sangshu was stronger than his 3 disciples. Mate Sangshu caught some game, peeled off the skin, and roasted it over the fire. Soon, the fragrance of meat floated out. Wu Neng involuntarily swallowed a mouthful of saliva as he stared at Li Changsheng and Lu Li. Li Changsheng picked up half a rabbit and ate it in big bites. He had no intention of giving it to Wu Neng. After walking for such a long time, Wu Neng was famished. He was only at the Vajra realm now, so he couldn't abstain from food. In the end, Li Changsheng and mate Sangshu finished eating, and there was only 1 rabbit leg left. Wu Neng thought, this time I should eat it myself. As he watched, he saw Li Changsheng toss the rabbit leg to the white tiger beside him. The white tiger swallowed it in 1 gulp, infuriating Wu Neng. That's enough. Why are you looking at me with such resentment? It's not like you can't eat it. After hesitating for a moment, Li Changsheng pulled out the 2 bones that he had finished eating from the ground and threw them to Wu Neng. Lick it properly. The taste of these bones is very fragrant. They also provide calcium. F***CK. Just as Wu Neng was about to curse, Li Changsheng stepped on his head. Say another word, and I will cut off your tongue. Looking at Li Changsheng's ferocious gaze, Wu Neng could only shut his mouth obediently. Li Changsheng hated the people from the 3 sacred grounds from the bottom of his heart. Naturally, he hated the house and its crow. He was already merciful for not torturing Wu Neng with more intense methods. How can you bully a Taoist? At this moment, a melodious voice rang out. A beautiful woman appeared at the lower reaches of the stream under the escort of a group of guards. Her charming face was covered in frost, and her beautiful eyes were staring at Li Changsheng. She was obviously furious. I am disciplining my servant. What does it have to do with you? Although the other party was very beautiful, Li Changsheng didn't indulge her and replied coldly, How dare you? How dare you be rude to our young miss? The guard beside the lady shouted angrily and pulled out the long saber in his hand. He looked like he was about to make a move on Li Changsheng. Back down. The lady reprimanded her subordinates and took a deep breath. I don't know what relationship you have with this Taoist, but even if he is a criminal, he is still a human. How can you humiliate him like this? Who knew that Li Changsheng didn't pay attention to her at all? Instead, he directly walked to a big rock and sat down. He closed his eyes and began to meditate, which made the beautiful lady seethe with anger. At this moment, Mate Sangshu cupped his hands and said, "Young miss, my master's temper is not very good. Please forgive him." "So he is your master. It seems that you're also not a good person." The lady vented all her anger towards Li Changsheng on Mate Sangshu, making him feel very innocent. "Taoist, looking at your appearance, you must be very hungry. I have some dry food here for you to eat." The lady waved to the guards behind her. Immediately, someone took out a cloth bag and opened it. There was some jerky and the like inside. Wu Neng, who had been hungry for a long time, grabbed the jerky and wolfed it down. "Taoist, eat slowly. Tell me, what is the relationship between you and that evil man? If you have any grievances, you can tell me, and I will help you." The lady spoke in a gentle and soft voice. Her master was a Taoist, so when she saw a Taoist, she innately felt a sense of familiarity. However, she was a very reasonable person. Although she wanted to teach Li Changsheng a lesson, if this Taoist was really Li Changsheng's servant, according to the customs of the Great Qian nation, a servant was like a dog raised by the master. The master could kill or beat the servant as he wished. Just as the Taoist was about to say something, he saw Li Changsheng's cold gaze. He immediately swallowed the words that were about to come out of his mouth. Even though Wu Neng was beaten up miserably by Li Changsheng, he was still a Vajra realm martial expert. With his eyesight, how could he not see that this lady had just reached the innate realm? Her subordinates were also in the innate realm. These people were even weaker than him. How could they save him from Li Changsheng's hands and escape from the sea of suffering? At the thought of Li Changsheng's brutal means, Wu Neng couldn't help but shudder. He shook his head like a rattledrum. "No need. I am really his servant." Hearing Wu Neng's words, the lady couldn't help but sigh. If she insisted on standing up for the servant when he was teaching the servant a lesson, then she would be unreasonable. However, her master had once taught her that all the Taoists in the world were one family. How could she watch a Taoist get humiliated like this? After thinking about it, she walked to Li Changsheng's side and said, "I apologize for my rudeness just now. I wonder if you can sell your servant to me. You can name any price." This lady was obviously from a wealthy clan and didn't lack money. Li Changsheng didn't even lift his eyelids. He just sat there with his eyes closed. That lady stomped her feet angrily. Then, she led her subordinates and continued on their way. After resting for half a day, Li Changsheng and the others continued on their journey. However, not long after they left, they saw a group of familiar figures in front of them. It was actually that beautiful lady. That beautiful lady also noticed Li Changsheng and the others. She immediately said angrily, "Why are you following me?" Li Changsheng couldn't help but laugh. "Who's following you? This road doesn't belong to you." As he spoke, he directly walked past the lady and the others. After walking for another half a day, Li Changsheng was about to sit down and rest when he saw the lady appear behind him again. Finally, Li Changsheng realized one thing, and that was that the woman very likely had the same destination as him. "Are you going to the Tai Sword sect too?" the lady asked before Li Changsheng could speak. Chapter 889. What are you going to the Tai Sword sect for? Li Changsheng did not answer the woman's question directly. Instead, he asked back, "Of course, I'm going to the Tai Sword sect to seek an audience with the immortal elder of the sacred land. My Yang family once owed a debt of gratitude to an elder of the Tai Sword sect. This time, I'm going to the Tai Sword sect to seek an immortal technique to cultivate." Yang Jiaojiao said proudly. The Tai Sword sect was one of the 3 sacred lands of the Tiandu star. Even the trashiest cultivation technique in the sect would be a peerless martial art in the secular world. Don't tell me you're also going to the Tai Sword sect to seek an immortal technique? It's useless for me to tell you. Unless you're like me and the Tai Sword sect's elder owes you a debt of gratitude, the Tai sacred land won't even give you the trashiest sword technique. Yang Jiaojiao said, "I'm not going to the Tai Sword sect to seek an immortal technique. I'm going to cause trouble for the Tai Sword sect." Hearing Li Changsheng's words, Yang Jiaojiao could not help but laugh. "What did you say? You're going to cause trouble for the Tai Sword sect? Don't be ridiculous. Do you see the guards behind me? Every one of them is extraordinary. Any one of them can beat you up. Even a servant disciple in the Tai Sword sect is comparable to a general of a secular kingdom. Do you think you're more powerful than a general of the Deqian country? Indeed, in Yang Jiaojiao's eyes, Li Changsheng looked ordinary and did not seem to have a profound cultivation base. As for Li Changsheng's disciple, Maid Songshu, because of his weak body, he had developed a sickly temperament. In her eyes, this pair of master and disciple was nothing special. On the other hand, the Taoist Wu Neng originally had a sage-like aura. However, after being tortured by Li Changsheng, he looked like a wild dog by the roadside. No wonder he Jiao looked down on him. A random servant disciple can beat me up? Li Changsheng could not help but laugh and shake his head. Do you see that Taoist? This guy is called Wu Neng. He's the grand preceptor of the Deqian country and also an inner disciple of the Tai Sword sect. Didn't I deal with him? Hearing Li Changsheng's words, Yang Jiao laughed even more. Him? How could the Tai Sword sect have such an incompetent inner court disciple? Don't tease me. Hearing Yang Jiao's words, Wu Neng's face also showed anger. Originally, he was grateful to this big sister who had given him food, but since she had mocked him so mercilessly, he lowered his head and looked at his tattered clothes and dirty hands. Wu Neng couldn't help but feel sad. He had brought shame to his sect. However, among Yang Jiao's guards, one of them showed a trace of surprise. He had once been fortunate enough to meet the state preceptor of the great Qian Empire. At that time, he worshipped the state preceptor so much that he didn't even dare to look him in the eye. He had a vague outline of the state preceptor in his mind. At this moment, he felt that Wu Neng was indeed somewhat similar to the state preceptor. However, he soon shook his head and dismissed this thought. The great Qian kingdom's marshal was a Vajra realm martial expert with formidable strength. How was it possible for him to be tortured like this and become a servant? After walking for another day and a half, Wu Neng finally stopped. Yang Jiao also looked ahead with reverence. There was a huge mountain blocking their path. There was a mortal fog lingering on the mountain. It was obvious that the Tai Sword sect had arrived. Wasn't it said that the Tai Sword sect's headquarters was built in a valley and was known as the Sword Valley? Why is it a huge mountain? Maid Songshu was puzzled. Because this mountain is an illusion array. What you are seeing is an illusion. In fact, we have already arrived at the entrance of the valley. Li Changsheng said. Hearing Li Changsheng's words, Yang Jiao couldn't help but reveal a surprised expression. She didn't expect Li Changsheng to be able to see through the Tai Sword sect's illusion array. She only knew that this mountain was fake after hearing it from her elders. To be able to see through the illusion array, his strength was definitely not low. However, she quickly snorted and said, I brought you to the front of the valley and told you that we have arrived at the destination. Furthermore, everyone in the great Qian Empire knows that the Tai Sword sect's headquarters is a valley. Therefore, it isn't a big deal for you to guess that this mountain is an illusion array. Hearing Yang Jiao's words, Li Changsheng didn't bother with her and directly walked forward. His figure swayed, and then he disappeared before everyone's eyes. He actually barged in. Let's go in as well. After Yang Jiao finished speaking, everyone walked into the array one after another. As for Wu Neng, Li Changsheng didn't have the time to bother with him. I have finally returned to the Tai Sword sect. Li, I will definitely repay the humiliation you have inflicted on me along the way 100 times. Wu Neng said while gritting his teeth. However, as soon as he finished speaking, he saw a transparent palm print appear out of thin air and land on his face. His entire body was sent flying 5 to 6 meters away. His head was stuck in a pile of dirt, and he struggled for a long time before pulling his head out. With Li Changsheng's hearing, even the sound of a mosquito flapping its wings couldn't escape his ears. Since he dared to speak ill of Li Changsheng, how could Li Changsheng not teach him a lesson? Li, you're going too far. Wu Neng said hatefully, but didn't dare to say anything else. After walking into the array, a valley appeared in front of everyone's eyes. Li Changsheng was about to move forward when he was stopped by a young man with a long sword in his hand. "Who are you?" "This is where the Tai Sword sect is located. If there is nothing important, please leave quickly." The other party's voice was cold, and his face was filled with arrogance. "I am from the Yang family of the Great Qin Nation. I know Elder Kong. Please inform him." Yang Jiao cupped her hands and said, "So you are from the Yang family. Elder Kong has already instructed that if the Yang family comes, there is no need to inform him. Please come in." The other party obviously thought that Li Changsheng and the others were with Yang Jiao. At this moment, Wu Ning also walked in. The young man only glanced at him indifferently before turning and walking in. Now, even his fellow disciples couldn't recognize Wu Neng. "Junior brother Bai," Wu Neng was about to speak. However, he was scolded by a guard of the Yang family. "How can you call a mortal Bai's name so casually? If you make a mortal Bai unhappy and implicate our Yang family, can you afford to take the blame?" Wu Neng was scolded by a guard and wanted to give him 2 slaps. However, his cultivation was sealed by Li Changsheng. If he were to make a move, he would only be humiliating himself. Bear with it for a while. Wu Neng comforted himself. As long as he entered the valley, he would have plenty of opportunities to reveal his identity. Therefore, he only glanced at the guard coldly and didn't say anything else. After walking into the valley, they saw a martial arts practice square in front of them. Thousands of disciples were holding swords and practicing sword techniques in an orderly manner. The atmosphere was majestic. The Tai Sword sect is indeed one of the 3 holy lands. What a scene! Yang Jiao exclaimed. Even Li Changsheng couldn't help but nod secretly. The Tai Sword sect was indeed unique. On the square, each of the youths practicing martial arts was extraordinary. However, it made sense. Even a second-grade sect, like the Cloud Dynasty sect, had to go through an assessment to enter. As one of the 3 holy lands of the Sky Capital Star, the Tai Sword sect ruled over many ancient countries. They selected disciples with good aptitude from hundreds of millions of people. Naturally, their disciples wouldn't be bad. Chapter 890. Elder Kong is here. The disciple in the lead stopped in his tracks. Sure enough, a sage-like old man in a snow-white robe was walking towards them. "Greetings, Elder Kong." The disciple hurriedly bowed. Yang Jiao and her subordinates also bowed respectfully. "You're the descendant of the Yang family? Half a month ago, your father sent me a letter by pigeon saying that I owed the Yang family a favor back then. Now, I'll give you a sword manual, but from now on, I have nothing to do with the Yang family. If I find out that the Yang family dares to use my name, I'll destroy your entire family without mercy." Elder Kong said coldly, and a powerful aura emanated from his body. Yang Jiao and the others all looked in awe. Although the Yang family had done Elder Kong a favor back then, immortal cultivators didn't care about feelings. When Yang Jiao and the others bowed, Li Changsheng had been watching coldly. Elder Kong immediately frowned and asked, "He's also your follower?" Yang Jiao hurriedly waved her hand. "He's not my follower. We just met by chance and came together. He has nothing to do with me. There will always be some worldly people who try to obtain immortal techniques." Elder Kong reprimanded. "How can we let these miscellaneous people into our Tai Sword sect?" Elder Kong is right. I was wrong. The disciple who led the way and hurriedly lowered his head and admitted his mistake. He stared coldly at Li Changsheng. Li Changsheng and the others made him suffer a scolding, so he was resentful. He turned his head and immediately stood up and shouted angrily, "Bastard, how dare you sneak into our Tai Sword sect? Get lost. You're the first one to tell me, Li Changsheng, to get lost." Li Changsheng snorted coldly. "Kid, you still want to resist? You're courting death." That disciple pulled out the sword in his hand with a whoosh sound and was about to use it to hack Li Changsheng. However, in the next moment, Li Changsheng took a step forward and waved his hand gently. The disciple flew a few meters away like a kite with a broken string. There was a deathly silence. The surrounding disciples also cast their gazes over. No one had expected that Li Changsheng would actually dare to make a move in the Tai Sword sect. How dare you? Elder Kong reacted and was about to fly into a rage. Immediately after, Wu Neng, who was behind Li Changsheng, fell to his knees with a thud. Elder Kong, this demon held me hostage all the way to the Tai Sword sect. Elder Kong, please avenge me. Elder Kong took a closer look and barely managed to recognize him. So it's Martial Nephew Wu Neng. He looked at Li Changsheng with eyes full of murderous intent. How dare you abuse a disciple of my Tai Sword sect? You're courting death. As he spoke, he raised his hand to grab Li Changsheng. However, Li Changsheng did not even look at him. His gaze was fixed on the row of palaces hidden in the clouds. Bang! The palm hit Li Changsheng's body. However, in the next second, the scene of Li Changsheng vomiting blood as he had imagined did not happen. Instead, Elder Kong felt an intense pain. Under the force of the recoil, his arm directly exploded, and his entire arm turned into a cloud of bloody mist. How could this be? Elder Kong stared at Li Changsheng as if he had seen a ghost. Is he an expert in the Earth's celestial stage? While he was still in shock, Li Changsheng had already looked at the main hall in the valley and said loudly, "Crazy Sword Taoist, get out here." His voice was loud and echoed in the valley. Countless disciples raised their heads one after another. With a surge of aura, several figures flew out and approached quickly. They were Su Tai Bai, the sect leader of the Tai Sword sect, and his proud disciple, Shang Yinjin. Who the hell are you? Elder Kong stared at Li Changsheng. His arm, which had been blown into a cloud of blood mist, was still dripping blood. Li Changsheng did not pay attention to him at all. Sect leader Su, how have you been? Li Changsheng said with a smile on his face. However, if one observed carefully, they would find that his smile was full of coldness. After seeing Li Changsheng's face clearly, Su Tai Bai and his disciple trembled, and their eyes were filled with horror. You're still alive? In the battle 3 years ago, Saint Lord Zi Yun detonated the Purple Cauldron, which killed 4,000 to 5,000 people. Everyone thought Li Changsheng was dead, and there was no corpse left. However, who would have thought that Li Changsheng would come back after 3 years? Are you disappointed that I'm not dead? Li Changsheng said with a chuckle. A sword appeared in Su Tai Bai's hand, and his aura kept rising. Since Li Changsheng appeared here, it was the biggest crisis since the establishment of the Tai Sword sect. Those who came did not come with good intentions. Mr. Li, I didn't expect you to come back alive. Tell me, what do you want? Nothing. I just want to flatten the Tai Sword sect, kill Crazy Sword Taoist, and take back what belongs to me. So, there's no room for negotiation? Su Tai Bai asked in a serious tone. You don't have to stall for time. Die. Li Changsheng had already seen through Su Tai Bai's thoughts. He must be using a special method to contact Purple Cloud Sanctuary and Tianxian Sanctuary. It had already been proven that only by joining forces could they deal with Li Changsheng. Crazy Sword Ancestor is not in the sect. Su Tai Bai took a deep breath and said, not in the sect. I'm afraid he's waiting for the others to appear so that he can join forces to deal with me. Is he being a coward now? Li Changsheng snorted coldly, then raised his fist and punched out. Whoosh! In the next second, the fist force whizzed out. Shang Yinjin and the other experts were better off. They dodged quickly and were not hit. However, the thousands of ordinary disciples in the square were not so lucky. The fist force whizzed past like a train. Wherever it passed, the air in front of it would be compressed into a solid state. Then it would explode violently. Thousands of disciples were turned into a bloody mist under the fist force. With just one punch, 90% of the Tai Sword sect disciples were killed. However, it was not over yet. Li Changsheng raised his fist again and threw out another punch into the depths of the valley. Boom! Under the devastating fist force, the defensive arrays in the Tai Sword sect cracked layer by layer. Countless palaces were crushed into ruins. Countless disciples and elders died. Li Changsheng, you've gone too far. An elderly and furious voice sounded out as a sword light broke through Li Changsheng's fist energy. It was like a large bird flying into the sky as it coldly stared at Li Changsheng. It was the infatuated sword Taoist. You're finally willing to come out of your turtle shell? Li Changsheng's mouth was full of disdain. Crazy sword Taoist, when I was fighting with Taoist Hao Yu that day, you launched a sneak attack on me and divided my heart wishful sword and mountain river ruler. Today, I'll destroy the Tai sword sect and take your head. You only have yourself to blame. Huh. Li Changsheng, I admit that you're strong. However, in the territory of the Tai sword sect, do you really think you can kill me? Chapter 891. Yang Jiaojiao looked at Li Changsheng in shock. Her mind was still in a daze. This guy who only knew how to brag along the way was really here to cause trouble for the Tai sword sect. Moreover, he seemed to be a very big shot. Even the sect master of the Tai sword sect was nothing in his eyes. Yang Jiaojiao thought of how she had gone against Li Changsheng along the way and felt a lingering fear. She had seen the power of Li Changsheng's punch just now. Thousands of disciples were turned into ashes in the blink of an eye. This was an unparalleled devil. Wu Neng, who was kneeling there, widened his eyes. He had thought that Li Changsheng would be taken down by his seniors in the Tai sword sect in a matter of minutes. But now his thoughts were completely overturned. Even old ancestor Qi Jian of the true, immortal realm has appeared. This time I've struck gold. Don't tell me I've brought disaster to the sect. Wu Neng's heart was filled with mixed feelings. At this moment, as Qi Jian Taoist's words fell, the entire valley suddenly shook violently. A mysterious aura was born and spread out. Cracks could be seen on the ground with the naked eye. Countless rays of light rose and condensed into 9 huge swords that lined up in the sky. This formation is called God Slaying. It's a super formation set up by generations of sages. Li Changsheng, do you still think you have a chance of winning? Qi Jian Taoist asked. The 9 swords behind him gradually merged into one and turned into a sword light that was thousands of feet long. It slashed down at Li Changsheng. The power of this sword was enough to split the heavens and earth and split the chaos. It could be said that this was the culmination of the sword Tao. I really didn't expect the Tai sword sect to have such a formation. But Qi Jian Taoist, aren't you going to ask me what I've been doing for the past 3 years? Li Changsheng smiled coldly. He slowly pulled out the quaint sword from its scabbard. On the sword, the 2 words Tiandu, written in ancient seal, were particularly eye-catching. When Qi Jian Taoist saw the words Tiandu, he seemed to have thought of something, and his face changed drastically. Impossible. Legend. That's just a legend. In the next second, as Li Changsheng raised the Tiandu sword in his hand, it was as if the world had come to a standstill, becoming the only thing in the world. Now, I would like to see if your Tai sword sect sword formation is stronger, or if the Tiandu sword in my hand is stronger. As soon as Li Changsheng finished speaking, the Tiandu sword suddenly slashed out. Hula. Similarly, he turned into a 10,000 feet long sword shadow and slashed out. Bang, bang, bang. The sky was shaking, the void was shattering, the earth was sinking, and the mountains and rivers were collapsing. The Tai sword sect's disciples prostrated themselves on the ground, and even Su Tai Bai and Shang Yinjin, who were experts in the Earth's celestial stage, were struggling to hold on. Ordinary people like Yang Jiaojiao and her guards were already lying on the ground. With that one sword strike, the 9 sword lights that had been condensed into 9 swords were directly shattered. They shattered in an instant, and the 9 swords disappeared without a trace. As the sword light descended, Crazy Sword Taoist was filled with shock. Break! Crazy Sword Taoist took out the Tai sword sect's treasure, the Tai divine sword. In the next moment, the indestructible sword was directly cut in half by the Tiandu sword, slicing the infatuated sword Taoist into 2 halves. Blood splattered across the sky. At the same time, the sword light did not stop and slashed in the valley. The entire sword valley was broken through from the beginning to the end, and the surrounding mountains and rivers collapsed instantly. Li Changsheng could feel the ancient killing intent of the Tiandu sword. In 3 years, the Tian-Du sword had already merged with his blood, and it was a Tao artifact Dharma treasure. Li Changsheng was still unable to unleash its power at his current level. Even so, it was enough to kill a perfected immortal. Crazy Sword Taoist was dead. The Tai Sword sect's disciples looked at this scene in a daze, feeling as if the sky had collapsed. Tai Sword sect was known as one of the 3 great sacred grounds because of the presence of perfected immortals. Without perfected immortals, the 3 great sacred grounds did not live up to their name. Su Tai Bai, Crazy Sword Taoist, is dead. You're next, Li Changsheng said loudly. From a moment Crazy Sword Taoist appeared until his death, there was no trace of the mountain and river ruler or the heart wishful sword. The Dharma treasures must be with Su Tai Bai. Su Tai Bai was scared out of his wits. He turned around without hesitation, turned into a stream of light, and fled into the distance. Even Crazy Sword Taoist was dead. How could he withstand it? However, Li Changsheng would not let him go so easily. Swoosh! With a punch, Su Tai Bai's body exploded from the sky. At the same time, the mountain and river ruler and the heart wishful sword fell out and were sucked into Li Changsheng's hand. He then threw them into his Chinquan bag. In addition, there was a pile of Dharma treasures and spirit stones. Mr. Li, please be merciful and spare the lives of the Tai Sword sect's disciples. They are innocent. They thought that Shang Yinjin would fight Li Changsheng to the death, but he knelt down and begged with eyes full of pleading. Is this still the young prodigy who showed off his abilities? Li Changsheng thought of Yuan Chushue's infatuation with Shang Yinjin. He thought of the battle between the righteous and the evil at Tiandu Mountain. Shang Yinjin was in high spirits and could not help but sigh. The so-called genius is just an ordinary person. Li Changsheng sighed and shook his head. No, I said that I would flatten the Tai Sword sect. Li Changsheng's words were tantamount to sentencing the thousands of people in the Tai Sword sect to death. I'll fight you to the death. Shang Yinjin was also a strong-willed person. When he saw that Li Changsheng had no intention of showing mercy, he suddenly stood up and chose to self-destruct on the spot. However, before he could fully activate his secret technique, Li Changsheng had already smashed him into a meat patty with a palm strike. Li Changsheng then looked at Yang Jiaojiao, who was lying on the ground and trembling in fear. Along the way, although you've been against me in every way, it's fate that brought us together. I can give you a way out. Leave immediately. Hearing Li Changsheng's words, Yang Jiaojiao hurriedly led the guards of the Yang family out of the valley. Mate Sangshu stood there like a wooden man. His mind had been short-circuited and was completely blank. He knew that his master was very powerful, but Li Changsheng came to cause trouble for the Tai Sword sect. He did not think that Li Changsheng could leave alive. However, after becoming Li Changsheng's disciple, he had no way out. However, he had never thought that he would witness Li Changsheng kill a Tao integration stage true immortal with his own eyes. Moreover, Su Tai Bai, the sect master of the Tai Sword sect, who was once a lofty and omnipotent figure in his eyes, had been defeated by Li Changsheng. Everything he saw today had completely overturned his understanding. What are you still doing? Hurry up and leave the valley with Yang Jiaojiao. Li Changsheng said to Mate Sangshu. Mate Sangshu did not dare to disobey and hurriedly left. At this moment, only a few thousand disciples of the Tai Sword sect were left. They all looked at Li Changsheng with hatred. Crazy Sword Taoist was dead, the sect master was dead, and the successor of the sect master, Shang Yinjin, was also dead. At this moment, the Tai Sword sect was equivalent to being destroyed. However, Li Changsheng still did not intend to let them go. His body rose from the ground and flew into the sky. He activated the indestructible body and punched out. A fist print like a mountain fell from the sky and smashed into the valley. The huge energy formed a ring shape and spread out in all directions. The entire valley was destroyed by the energy and turned into a mess. The remaining disciples exploded under the fist. The foundation that had been passed down for thousands of years was completely gone. Made Sangshu and Yang Jiaojiao, who had left the valley, heard the roar behind them and stopped in their tracks. They saw an unforgettable scene. The earth sank, the mountains were destroyed, and the sky collapsed. A figure fell from the sky, quickly. I'll give you a mission. Send the news of the Tai sword sect destruction back to the Qian Empire. I think the emperor will know what to do. Yes, Yang Jiaojiao said with a trembling voice. In her eyes, Li Changsheng was already like a god. After speaking, Li Changsheng sat on the back of the white tiger and said to Mate Sangshu, "Let's go. Master will bring you to flatten the other two sacred grounds." Mate Sangshu did not have time to think about the information in Li Changsheng's words. He hurriedly led the dragon blood horse in his hand and mounted it. Soon, he disappeared into the horizon. Yang Jiaojiao looked at the departing figure and suddenly felt a huge sense of regret. If she had a good relationship with Li Changsheng, would she be able to follow such a godly figure? At the same time, she knew that from the moment the Tai sword sect was destroyed, the entire sky capital star would change. Chapter 892. At this moment, two groups of people were gathered on the road from the Purple Cloud Sacred Ground to the Tai sword sect. The leaders were Yu Chanzi from the Purple Cloud Sacred Ground and Daoist Hao Yu from the Tian Yuan Sacred Ground. I just received a message from the Tai sword sect. They seem to have encountered a great enemy. Because the message was sent in a hurry, I don't know who the invader is, but the danger level is the highest. Yu Chanzi frowned. To be able to make infatuated sword Daoists send out a distress signal of such a level. Could it be that some old ancestor of the demon sect has appeared? Could it be that person? Daoist Hao Yu's expression was a little serious. Are you referring to Li Changsheng? Yu Chanzi was puzzled. However, he shook his head and said, "That's impossible. Back then, I detonated the Purple Cauldron, the sect-guarding treasure of my Purple Cloud Holy Land. Even a true immortal expert would be blown to smithereens. Moreover, Li Changsheng was in an extremely weak state at that time. It was absolutely impossible for him to survive." Daoist Hao Yu heaved a sigh of relief after hearing Yu Chanzi's analysis. Even after 3 years, the name Li Changsheng still made his heart palpitate. If Yu Chanzi and Daoist Hao Yu had not appeared in time, he would have died. When the battle had just ended, Daoist Hao Yu often sent disciples to Tiandu Peak to check, afraid that Li Changsheng would come back to life. Li Changsheng had almost become his nightmare. I hope so. Daoist Hao Yu was still a little worried. For the Tai sword sect to send out the highest level of help, the situation must be very dangerous. We have been observing the Demon Gate all this time. Unexpectedly, they could launch an attack on the Tai sword sect silently. It seems we have underestimated them. After Yu Chanzi finished speaking, a white crane flew from the sky and landed, turning into an envelope. Yu Chanzi's face changed instantly when he opened the folded envelope. "What's wrong?" Daoist Hao Yu asked quickly. Yu Chanzi looked at Daoist Hao Yu with a trembling voice. "Brother Hao Yu, this is bad. You were right. That Li Changsheng is not dead. He is the one who attacked the Tai sword sect." Daoist Hao Yu's body suddenly trembled. He then took a deep breath and said, "It's fine. It's fine. The reason why Li Changsheng was able to force me to such a degree was because I underestimated him. With the infatuated sword Daoist strength, Li Changsheng might not be his match. Let's hurry over and take the opportunity to surround Li Changsheng so that he won't escape again." All right. The two of them couldn't care less about their subordinates, as they each took a step forward and disappeared into thin air. When the two of them walked out of the void and saw that the Tai sword sect had been razed to the ground, they were dumbfounded. The Tai sword sect had been destroyed. Brother Imbecile's sword. The two of them felt their scalps go numb. According to what they knew, Li Changsheng had used all his strength when fighting against Daoist Hao Yu. He had only managed to heavily injure Daoist Hao Yu when he was careless. Logically speaking, the infatuated sword Daoist strength was not inferior to Daoist Hao Yu's at all. In addition, they were in their own territory. With the help of the formation, Li Changsheng should not be his match. However, the Tai Sword sect had been destroyed. The Tai Sword sect has been destroyed. That Li Changsheng will definitely find trouble with our two clans. We have to hurry back. But which clan will he find trouble with first? Just as Yu Chanzi was guessing, the jade talisman on his body suddenly vibrated and shattered with a bang. Not good. Li Changsheng has already reached the purple cloud sacred land. We have to hurry back. The two of them hurriedly turned around and disappeared into the void. At this moment, in front of the purple cloud sacred land's gate, Sacred Lord Shun Yin and Sacred Sun Xing, Xiao Wang, were standing in front of the valley. They looked warily at Li Changsheng, who was riding on a white tiger. Purple Cloud, Sacred Lord. Young Emperor Xing, long time no see. Li Changsheng cracked open his mouth and chuckled. This time, I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm here to destroy your Purple Cloud, Sacred Land. Do you have any last words? My Purple Cloud, Sacred Land had a legacy of thousands of years. It's not something you can destroy just like that. Young Emperor Xing snorted coldly. However, in the next second, Li Changsheng struck out with his palm. It turned into a huge palm print that caused a crack to appear on the ground. Young Emperor Xing coughed out blood under the palm. Hurry up and hide in the formation. I've already asked for help from martial ancestor Yu Chanzi. At Shun Yan's command, he hurriedly led his subordinates to hide in the large array. After hiding in the formation, they heaved a sigh of relief. Li Changsheng was not in a hurry to attack. After their formation was fully activated, he pulled out the Tian Du sword on his back and slashed out. Hoop! The sword light was thousands of feet long and covered the entire mountain peak. The formation began to collapse under the sword light. Under the horrified gazes of Sacred Lord Shun Yin and his disciples, everyone was reduced to ashes under the sword light. After destroying a sacred land, Li Changsheng put away the Tian Du sword. Riding on the white tiger, he led his disciple Mei Sangshu to the next sacred land leisurely. This time, he was not in a hurry. He wanted to use the Tianyuan sacred land as bait. Otherwise, once he destroyed the Tianyuan sacred land, it would be much more difficult to find the two Dao integration perfected immortals. Not long after Li Changsheng left, the void trembled. Yu Chanzi and Daoist Hao Yu appeared at the same time. When he saw the sect that had been razed to the ground, Yu Chanzi's eyes turned red. Crazy killing intent raged on his body. Li Changsheng, I'll tear you to pieces, Yu Chanzi said through gritted teeth. Daoist Hao Yu's face was full of worry. He hurriedly said, Brother Yu Chanzi, quickly return to the sect with me. Li Changsheng must have gone to the Tianyuan sacred land to cause trouble. If he destroys the Tianyuan sacred land and leaves, it will be difficult for us to catch him. The only way is to block him. With the two of us working together, we will definitely be able to kill him. Hearing Daoist Hao Yu's words, Yu Chanzi nodded. He suppressed the sadness in his heart and said, All right, Daoist Hao Yu. The two of us must kill Li Changsheng. The two of them hurriedly turned and flew back to the Tianyuan sacred land. At this moment, in the main hall of the Tianyuan sacred land, Sacred Lord Fu Tong was sitting on the main seat. Next to him was his disciple Han Mu and a group of elders. Grandmaster received the distress signal for the Tai Sword sect and went to help. Before he left, he asked us to increase our vigilance. It is very likely that the demon sect is attacking. There has always been a rumor in the demon sect that there are perfected immortals, but they have never appeared. This time, it seems to be true. Instruct the disciples not to go out as much as possible. As soon as Daoist Fu Tong finished speaking, everyone below obeyed. Sacred Son Han Mu, who was next to him, hesitated for a moment and said, Master, do you think it is possible that Li Changsheng is not dead? Thinking of the scene where Li Changsheng killed the demon Venerable Li Qingtian in the formation, Han Mu still felt his mind wavering. Impossible. If he is alive, Shengwan Shui has been guarding there for 3 years. It is impossible that she did not appear. It is even more impossible that she was forced to marry Yi Feiguang by the sect. A few days ago, I received an invitation that Yi Feiguang was going to marry Shengwan Shui. They asked us to attend the wedding. After Taoist Fu Tong finished speaking, the main hall suddenly shook. Then, two figures walked out of the void. It was Taoist Hao Yu and Yu Chanzi. He immediately got up hurriedly. "Greetings, Grandmaster. Greetings, old ancestor Yu Chanzi. The Tai Sword sect has been destroyed. The Purple Cloud Sacred Land has also been destroyed. Li Changsheng has returned." Taoist Hao Yu said. Taoist Fu Tong's expression changed drastically. He is really alive. Sounds of discussion could be heard from the elders below. This news was too shocking. Chapter 893. Could it be that the crazy sword Taoist is not in the sect? Otherwise, how could Li Changsheng destroy the Tai Sword sect? Perfected Fu Tong was puzzled. In his heart, although Li Changsheng's combat strength was comparable to that of a perfected immortal, he was still inferior. If the crazy sword Taoist was in the sect, he should not have been destroyed. The crazy sword Taoist is in the sect, and I tried to contact him just now, but there was no response. I'm afraid that even if he is not dead, he is seriously injured. Perfected Hao Yu said with a solemn expression. This was the greatest uneasiness in his heart. The crazy sword Taoist is so strong, but he is still alive. This means that Li Changsheng has returned stronger than before, so we must seize this opportunity to join forces and kill him. Otherwise, he will only get stronger and stronger, and even if we join forces, we will not be his match. When that time comes, we can only live like rats. Yu Chanzi said. He had hatred for Li Changsheng in his heart, but he was also afraid of Li Changsheng's strength. He was afraid that Li Changsheng would not come to the Tianyuan sacred ground and miss the best opportunity to kill Li Changsheng. Just as he was speaking, the hall suddenly trembled, and a voice came from afar, falling into everyone's ears. Yu Chanzi, Perfected Hao Yu, I know that both of you are inside. Come out and die. That Li Changsheng really thinks that he is invincible. Today, I must tear him into pieces. Yu Chanzi said in a sinister voice. The Purple Cloud's sacred ground was destroyed, and he hated Li Changsheng to the core. Taoist brother Yu Chanzi, please calm down. That Li Changsheng is crafty and cunning. This time, we must kill him and not let him escape. In a while, I will go out and meet him in battle so that he will lower his guard. Otherwise, both of us will go out and scare him away. Also, Taoist brother, you must remain calm. Don't kill him at the last moment. Capture him first and force out the cultivation method he cultivates. Perfected Hao Yu instructed. Okay. Yu Chanzi took a deep breath. Be sure to trap him and not let him escape. I will listen to Perfected Hao Yu's arrangement. I'll go out and meet the enemy. With that, Taoist Bright Moon strode forward and flew out. Taoist Fu Tong followed behind. In front of the mountain gate, Li Changsheng was sitting cross-legged on the back of the white tiger. As for Mei Tsangshu, he was ordered to wait 100 li away so that he wouldn't be affected by the aftermath of the battle and distract Li Changsheng. The array formation of the Tianyuan sacred land opened, and Taoist Hao Yu led his men out. Li Changsheng, you really have guts. Since I didn't kill you last time, why don't you quickly hide far away? You even dare to come to my mountain gate to seek death. It seems that I can only fulfill your wish. Taoist Hao Yu was traumatized by Li Changsheng, but with Yu Chanzi's help, he did not believe that no matter how powerful Li Changsheng was, he could defeat the two of them. Is Yu Chanzi not here? Tell him to come out and die too. Upon hearing Li Changsheng's words, Taoist Hao Yu suddenly felt a little guilty. He thought that, fortunately, Li Changsheng did not know that Yu Chanzi was also here and did not run away. He immediately shook his head and said, To deal with you, I don't need Taoist brother Yu Chanzi. I alone am enough. Is that so? That's really a pity. Li Changsheng shook his head and then slashed out with the sword in his hand. The moment he saw the Tian Du sword, Taoist Hao Yu suddenly had an ominous premonition. The words Tian Du made him think of a certain possibility. Under the sword light, Taoist Hao Yu took out a magic treasure to block it, but it was instantly cut in half. Then, with a roar, he was cut in half from head to toe. He was directly killed by the sword. Until his death, Taoist Hao Yu's face was still filled with disbelief. The Chinquan bag fell out and was caught by Li Changsheng. Sure enough, both of his magic treasures were inside. Taoist Fu Teng and his disciple Han Mu, who were behind Taoist Hao Yu, were dumbfounded. There was deep fear in their eyes. Who would have thought that Taoist Hao Yu would be so easily killed by a sword? He can't be dead. He must have used some other method to avoid it. Han Mu muttered to himself. Yes, how could the ancestor die so easily? Taoist Fu Teng seemed to have thought of something. However, they waited and waited, but Taoist Hao Yu still didn't appear. Li Changsheng couldn't help but shake his head. At this moment, in the Tianyuan's sacred land, Yu Chanzi calculated that it was about time. He quietly went behind Li Changsheng and was about to give Li Changsheng a fatal blow, but found that Taoist Hao Yu, who had agreed to cooperate with him, had disappeared. Huh, it turns out that you want to launch a sneak attack. Li Changsheng looked at Yu Chanzi mockingly. Where's Taoist Hao Yu? Yu Chanzi looked at Taoist Fu Teng. Grandmaster seems to have been killed by this scoundrel. Taoist Fu Teng stammered. What? Yu Chanzi's expression changed drastically. When he saw the Tian-Du sword in Li Changsheng's hand, he suddenly understood something. I didn't expect the legend to be true. The Tian-Du peak is really a treasure sword, and you've been recognized by it. At this moment, Yu Chanzi decisively turned around and fled without hesitation. He turned into a stream of light and instantly disappeared into the depths of the void. Want to run? It's not that easy. Li Changsheng raised the Tian-Du sword and slashed out. The void shattered, and Yu Chanzi fell out of the void. Spare me. Yu Chanzi was really scared. Even though he had lived for thousands of years, who wasn't afraid of death? Humph. When you detonated the purple cauldron and almost destroyed my body and soul, why didn't you spare my life at that time? When you divided the Dharma treasures and returned to the sect with the joy of victory, why didn't you think about how wrong my death was? During the battle between the good and evil, I helped you kill Li Qingtian, broke the demon sect's array formation, and saved many of the younger generation of the good faction. I was awarded the Sky Capital Peak based on my contributions, and the 3 Holy Lands personally agreed to it. Just because I'm from another star field, you guys forcefully erased my contributions. Isn't it too late to ask for mercy now? Yu Chanzi still wanted to say something. Li Changsheng's sword had already descended. Crack! The sword light was dazzling. Yu Chanzi's head flew up with a look of horror and then rolled on the ground. Li Changsheng searched his Chinquan bag and finally swung his sword at the biggest holy land in this star domain, the Tianyuan Holy Land. The sword light was dazzling and thousands of feet long. Under the sword light, countless disciples of the Tianyuan Holy Land looked on in despair. In the end, everyone was turned into ashes under the sword light, including Taoist Fu Teng and his genius disciple Han Mu. During an avalanche, no snowflake was innocent. Only by completely flattening the 3 Holy Lands would Li Changsheng be able to vent his anger. Cut the weeds and eliminate the roots. Li Changsheng still had a lot of restraint on Earth, but in this star domain, he had completely let go of his hands and feet. As the saying went, those who were not of his race had to have a different heart. Since the other party thought that Li Changsheng was not of their race, Li Changsheng would kill them like slaughtering sheep. After the Tianyuan Holy Land was destroyed, Li Changsheng began to head to the east. Shangguan Shui had built a hut at the foot of Tian-Du Peak and waited for him for 3 years. How could Li Changsheng turn a blind eye to this friendship? After taking revenge, he naturally had to return the favor, but he did not let mate Sangshu go with him. Instead, he asked him to return to the Great Qian Empire. Previously, Li Changsheng had asked Yang Jiaojiao to go back and pass the message, but he was still a little worried, so he asked mate Sangshu to go back personally. The two of them agreed that after Li Changsheng met Shangguan Shui, he would return to the Great Qian Empire to look for him. Chapter 894. The East was vast and desolate compared to the South. As a superpower in the East, the Snow Spirit Palace was very famous. Unlike the 3 Holy Lands, everyone knew the exact location of the Snow Spirit Palace. As the top superpower in the East, the Snow Spirit Palace had many disciples. Li Changsheng rode the white tiger forward quickly, passing through the mountains. Along the way, he encountered quite a few young disciples who were out training, as well as some strange people who lived in seclusion deep in the mountains and forests. When he passed through a valley, he was attacked by a superpower. In the end, Li Changsheng killed all of them with one slap. After about 10 days, Li Changsheng finally arrived at the state of Fenglin in the east, where the headquarters of the Snow Spirit Palace was located. The state of Fenglin was one of the 3 states in the east. It was slightly smaller than the other 2 states, but it had the most beautiful scenery. There used to be 3 superpowers in the east. In addition to the Snow Spirit Palace and the Yi family, there was also a Taoist sect called the Temple of Longevity. However, after thousands of years, the Temple of Longevity had not produced a single genius and gradually declined. As soon as he arrived at the state of Fenglin, Li Changsheng found that there were people everywhere with strange beasts. Although Li Changsheng's white tiger was very magical, it did not attract any special attention. After Li Changsheng entered the state of Fenglin, he happened to see a cultivator riding a dragon blood horse resting on the side of the road. Li Changsheng hurried forward and asked, "Are you going to the Snow Spirit Palace too?" After knowing the purpose of Li Changsheng's visit, the cultivator was not surprised at all. "What do you mean? Are there a lot of people go to the Snow Spirit Palace recently?" This time, Li Changsheng was a little confused. "Are you not going to the engagement party of the Snow Spirit Palace's Saintess, Shangguan Shui? What's going on?" Li Changsheng asked. The cultivator was a talkative person. The Yi family, the top family in the East, proposed marriage to the Snow Spirit Palace. Today is the engagement party of the Snow Spirit Palace's Saintess Shangguan Shui and the Yi family's young master, Yi Feiguan. The Snow Spirit Palace sent out invitations to all cultivation families. This is the biggest event in the state of Fenglin. In that case, are you also going to attend the engagement banquet? Is it possible for me to travel with you? Li Changsheng took out a spiritual fruit from his chinquan bag and handed it to the cultivator. "This is a cinnabar fruit that I collected on the way here. Brother, try it. It tastes pretty good." The cultivator's eyes lit up. This kind of thing contained a very dense spirit energy and was sold in some shops in the Fenglin continent, but the price was very expensive. To put it bluntly, 1 vermilion fruit was equivalent to a mid-grade spirit stone. Li Changsheng was so generous to give it to him to eat, causing the cultivator to feel flattered. After receiving the cinnabar fruit, a satisfied expression immediately appeared on his face. After eating the cinnabar fruit, the cultivator and Li Changsheng began to call each other brothers. He patted his chest and promised to take Li Changsheng to the Snow Spirit Palace. The 2 of them walked for about half an hour before they saw a white palace looming between the mountains in the distance. Many people were gathered around it. The engagement banquet had not officially started yet, so those of lower status could only wait at the foot of the mountain. "This palace is quite grand." Li Changsheng looked at the Snow Spirit Palace in front of him. Although its status was not as high as the 3 sacred lands, the palace's architecture was not inferior to the 3 sacred lands at all. The Snow Spirit Palace is one of the 2 largest factions in the central region. If it wasn't for the fact that the palace master is slightly weaker, it might be comparable to the 3 sacred lands. The cultivator saw that Li Changsheng seemed to be a newbie and didn't know anything, so he proudly introduced him to Li Changsheng. "Do you want to take a look inside the Snow Spirit Palace?" Li Changsheng suddenly looked at the cultivator. The cultivator was stunned. "Even if the engagement banquet is held, we can only bask in the light at the foot of the mountain. If you want to enter the Snow Spirit Palace, you must be the sect master of an 8th-ranked sect or a direct disciple." Li Changsheng smiled and strode forward. "Stop!" At this moment, 2 female disciples in white stood out and blocked Li Changsheng's path. "May I ask which sect you are from?" The 2 girls were only outer sect disciples of the Snow Spirit Palace, but at this moment, they were high and mighty with a bit of arrogance. The disciples of the Snow Spirit Palace were naturally superior to others in their bones. "I am a disciple of the Tai Sword sect, and have some friendship with the saintess of your sect, Shangguan Shui. I just happened to pass by here and came to pay a visit," Li Changsheng said with a mouth full of nonsense. The two female disciples were dumbfounded. The Tai Sword sect was one of the 3 sacred lands, so they did not dare to slight them. The cultivator accompanying Li Changsheng also widened his eyes and thought to himself, no wonder he could eat such a precious spiritual fruit like the cinnabar fruit so casually. He is from the 3 sacred lands. Thinking that he just said that the Snow Spirit Palace could be comparable to the 3 sacred lands, he could not help but blame himself for talking too much. "So, it is a senior brother from the Tai Sword sect. Please wait a moment. Senior brother, I will go in and report." "What is there to report? I am very familiar with your sect master." Li Changsheng waved his hand at the cultivators who were following him. "Come, I will take you inside to have a look." The cultivator was originally somewhat hesitant. However, when he thought about how if he could enter the Snow Spirit Palace, he would be able to brag to others in the future. Thus, he followed behind Li Changsheng. Li Changsheng forced his way inside, but the 2 Snow Spirit Palace disciples did not dare to stop him. They thought to themselves, this senior brother from the Tai Sword sect is too rude. One of them gave the other a look, telling her to follow Li Changsheng, while he hurriedly went to report to the higher-ups of the sect. Li Changsheng entered and saw the Snow Spirit Palace disciples following beside him. He could not help but ask, "Where is the saintess of Shangguan Shui? Last time, during the war between good and evil, I met the saintess of Shangguan Shui. We had a good chat." Hearing Li Changsheng's words, a respectful expression immediately appeared on the female disciple's face. She knew Shangguan Shui's temperament. To be able to chat with Shangguan Shui so happily, he was definitely at the level of a true disciple in the Tai Sword sect, at the very least. "The saintess of Shangguan Shui," the female disciple stammered. Although they were about to be engaged, Shangguan Shui was still grounded by the palace master. The palace master had already ordered the disciples not to gossip about this matter. Chirp! A long chirp came from the sky. 2 white figures flew across the sky, blotting out the sun as they flew towards Li Changsheng. "It is the divine beast, Snow Wan. What is going on?" The female disciple's expression suddenly changed. The divine beast Snow Wan was the guardian divine beast of the Snow Spirit Palace. It had always lived in the back of the mountain and had never left that area. However, now it had run to the front and was obviously rushing toward their area. Chapter 895. What's going on? The female disciple's face was filled with fear. Snow Wands had bad tempers, and the area they lived in was almost a forbidden area. What if they hurt someone? The young cultivator accompanying Li Changsheng was also so scared that his legs were trembling. That Snow Wan's power was simply too great. Only Li Changsheng was expressionless. "Watch out!" At this time, the surrounding disciples also noticed the Snow Wan and cried out in alarm. However, it was clearly too late. The Snow Wan flew straight towards Li Changsheng's location. "It's over. This kid will be killed by the Snow Wan's claws." Many of the Snow Spirit Palace disciples couldn't help but look away. But in the next moment, the 2 Snow Wands landed and intimately rubbed their heads against Li Changsheng. "What's going on?" The surrounding people were dumbfounded. Only Li Changsheng knew that since Shangguan Shui gave him the Snow Wan egg, the 2 Snow Wands must have sensed the aura of their offspring and knew that Li Changsheng was the future master of their offspring. "Are they trying to curry favor with me?" "Don't worry, I'll take good care of them for you," Li Changsheng said to the 2 Snow Wands. The Snow Wands seemed to understand his words. They flapped their wings happily and then flew into the sky. "What's going on?" The female disciple looked at Li Changsheng with lingering fear. Li Changsheng didn't answer her. The Snow Wands had lived for thousands of years and were already human. Li Changsheng already knew where Shangguan Shui was when he communicated with them with his divine sense. He didn't need the female disciple to lead the way. This time, he directly walked in one direction. After turning a corner, he saw an elegant courtyard. In the courtyard, Shangwan Shui was sitting on a stone stool with a cold expression. Beside her were two disciples of the Snow Spirit Palace. Saint Shangwan, long time no see. Just as Shangwan Shui lowered her head and thought about something, a voice came from the door. Shangwan Shui suddenly looked up. First, her face was filled with disbelief, then ecstasy. Li Changsheng? Is it really you? As he spoke, he got up and walked towards Li Changsheng. However, she was stopped by one of the disciples. Senior Sister Shangwan, please don't make things difficult for us. The other woman looked at Li Changsheng warily. Who are you? Who let you barge in here? I'm your senior sister Shangwan's friend. I'm here to see her. As he spoke, he was about to step forward. However, the other party pulled out the sword in his hand. Stop. The two of us were ordered to guard senior sister Shangwan and not let anyone get close to her. Friend, please don't make things difficult for us. Guard? Hearing this, Li Changsheng's brows furrowed. Sure enough, the engagement between Shangwan Shui and Yi Feiguang was not voluntary. They even sealed Shangwan Shui's cultivation. Li Changsheng instantly saw through Shangwan Shui's physical condition. No wonder the two of them could control Shangwan Shui. Without cultivation, Shangwan Shui is just a weak woman. Shangwan Shui built a house for Li Changsheng and guarded him for 3 years. This relationship was very deep. If she was really willing to marry Yi Feiguang, Li Changsheng could only give her his blessings. However, she was forced to do so. Now that Li Changsheng was here, he would definitely not allow this to happen. Changsheng, you're still alive? Shangwan Shui stared at Li Changsheng. She thought she was hallucinating just now. Now, she was sure that Li Changsheng was really alive. Get out of my way, Li Changsheng said coldly to the woman who was blocking his way. Who are you? The female disciple felt the coldness from Li Changsheng and felt suffocated under this powerful aura. She knew that the strength of this young man was definitely terrifying. Friend, you can't just barge in here. At this moment, the female disciple who was in charge of leading the way and the cultivator rushed over. When they saw the scene where swords were drawn, they were a little dumbfounded. The cultivator who came with Li Changsheng hurriedly advised, Brother Dao, what are you doing? How can you have a conflict with the people of the Snow Spirit Palace? However, Li Changsheng didn't pay any attention to him and continued to walk forward. I told you to stop. At this moment, the female disciple did not hesitate to stab at Li Changsheng with her sword. Palace Master Evil Moon had already told her that no one was allowed to break into this yard without his order. You're courting death. Li Changsheng's eyes turned cold. When the sword was close to him, he suddenly pointed his finger. Clang! That slender sword immediately shattered into several pieces. At the same time, the female disciple was hit by the fingertip. She flew backward like a kite with a broken string and landed more than 10 meters away. The other disciple who was in charge of guarding stared at Li Changsheng. The hand holding the sword trembled slightly. Li Changsheng was able to send her companion flying with a single finger. How could she possibly be able to stop him? Get out of my way. Don't force me to attack. Li Changsheng's voice was very cold, like ice that would not melt for thousands of years. As he stepped forward, the female disciple hesitated for a moment and finally stood aside obediently. She knew that even if she attacked, it would be useless. She would only be humiliating herself. If she accidentally angered Li Changsheng, she might be killed in an instant. Changsheng. Shangwan Shui looked at Li Changsheng with 2 lines of tears in her eyes. For 3 years, she had been waiting at the foot of Tiandu Peak. For countless days and nights, she had hoped to see Li Changsheng's face when she opened the door in the morning. However, countless hopes were accompanied by countless disappointments. In the end, she had become numb. But today, she saw Li Changsheng again. Li Changsheng reached out to wipe away the tears on Shangwan Shui's face. Shangwan Shui suddenly threw herself into his arms. Her body trembled as if she wanted to melt into his body. After a long time, Shangwan Shui left Li Changsheng's arms with a red face. Her ears were burning. The female disciple outside and the practitioner who came with Li Changsheng were dumbfounded. What's going on? Shangguan Shui is about to be engaged to Yi Fei Guang, the heavenly talent of the East. Is there someone who wants to snatch the marriage? Especially the practitioner who came with Li Changsheng. He felt a chill in his heart. What sin did he commit? Why did he listen to Li Changsheng and follow Li Changxing into the Snow Spirit Palace? Now, he must be regarded as an accomplice of Li Changsheng. If the heavenly talent of the Yi family knew, he would tear him apart. After Shangguan Shui calmed down, Li Changxing asked, Miss Shangguan, what's going on? Did your master force you to marry Yi Fei Guang? If you don't want to, no one in this world can force you. If anyone wants to hurt you, they'll have to ask me, Li Changxing's fist, first. Li Changsheng was furious. Even the 3 holy lands are destroyed by him, let alone the Snow Spirit Palace and the Yi family of the East. Sensing Li Changxing's murderous intent, Shangguan Shui hurriedly said, Changsheng, don't be angry. My master is doing this for my own good. Shangguan Shui knew Li Changxing's strength. Even immortal Hao Yu, who was a Dao reunion perfected immortal, was almost killed by Li Changsheng. Although the Snow Spirit Palace was a top 8th rank sect, every sect had a Dao reunion perfected immortal. Once Li Changxing got angry, he might start a massacre. Although she was angry that her master forced her to marry Yi Fei Guang, this was the sect that raised her. She did not want it to be destroyed by Li Changsheng. Li Changsheng immediately understood what Shangguan Shui meant. He took a deep breath, suppressed the murderous intent in his heart, and said, Miss Shangguan, I don't know if you're willing to leave with me to the ends of the earth. As long as you agree, I'll take you with me. After Li Changsheng said this, Shangguan Shui's eyes were resolute. He nodded his head heavily. Okay. With that, Li Changsheng took her hand. Then let's leave. Chapter 896. On the other side, the female disciple suddenly realized that the young man she brought in did know senior sister Shangguan, but he was not here to attend the engagement party, but to kidnap the bride. But she did not dare to stop him. She was just an outer disciple with weak strength. Even the 2 inner disciples who were in charge of guarding were intimidated by Li Changsheng. The cultivator who came in with Li Changsheng had a bitter smile on his face. He thought to himself, it's over. I'm really done for this time. He followed Li Changsheng into the Snow Spirit Palace in a moment of confusion. If Li Changsheng took Shangguan Shui away, the Snow Spirit Palace would be furious and tear him into pieces. Who dares to behave atrociously in the Snow Spirit Palace? At this moment, a majestic voice came from outside the door. The fight just now had alarmed the masters in the Snow Spirit Palace, and some people rushed over. An old woman in white appeared at the door with a group of disciples of the Snow Spirit Palace. The woman had a wide forehead and a thin face. She had a pair of triangular eyes and a fierce face, which reminded Li Changsheng of Nanny Rong in a TV series. Martial ant. After seeing the woman, Shangguan Shui had mixed feelings. She was Evil Moon's junior sister, Morning Star Immortal. When Morning Star Immortal heard that Li Changsheng was going to take Shangguan Shui away, her eyes were filled with anger. The marriage between the Snow Spirit Palace and the Yi family was a big deal, and there was no room for mistakes. In her opinion, someone who wanted to take Shangguan Shui away at this critical moment deserved to die. Morning Star Immortal stared at Li Changsheng with eyes as sharp as knives. Where did this reckless boy come from? How dare you behave atrociously in the Snow Spirit Palace? Do you really think that the title of the top sect in the east of the Snow Spirit Palace is just for show? As soon as she finished speaking, the disciples behind her pulled out their swords and surrounded Li Changsheng. Since your little Shui's elder, get out of here now. I don't want to kill. Li Changsheng said in an indifferent voice. If it were not for Shangguan Shui's feelings, Li Changsheng would have turned the Snow Spirit Palace into ashes with his sword. However, Li Changsheng's words made everyone from the Snow Spirit Palace feel ridiculous. The Snow Spirit Palace was high and mighty in the east. No one had ever dared to belittle them, especially venerable Chen Xing, whose eyes were filled with killing intent. Where did this reckless thing come from? How dare he spout such arrogant words here? Men, take him down and throw him into the dungeon. After the engagement banquet is over, hand him over to the sect master for punishment. As soon as he finished speaking, several disciples immediately walked towards Li Changsheng. Li Changsheng's gaze turned cold. Just as he was about to strike, Shengguan Shui, who was beside him, hurriedly tugged at his sleeve. "Don't!" There was a pleading look in her eyes. Although these disciples were now like strangers who wanted to ruin her happiness, she was still Shengguan Shui's junior sister after all. She knew what Li Changsheng was capable of. If Li Changsheng made a move, no one would be able to withstand one of his moves. However, in the eyes of Venerable Qin Xing, her actions were seen as protecting Li Changsheng. She snorted coldly and said, "Shengguan Shui, if you don't want him to die, then obediently marry Yi Feiguang. At that time, he might be able to save his life. Otherwise, you should know your master's methods best." Hearing Venerable Qin Xing's words, Shengguan Shui sneered and said, "Martial uncle, you're still threatening me at this time. Don't you want me to marry Yi Feiguang? And then the Snow Spirit Palace and the Yi family of the East will unite to dominate the East? But what about my happiness? Have you ever asked for my opinion?" Shengguan Shui's face was filled with sadness. This was her sect, the place she had once regarded as home. But now it was her family who were forcing her and using her happiness as a bargaining chip in exchange for the benefits they wanted. She was very disappointed and heartbroken. "Shui, you've disappointed me. The sect's interests are above everything else. What's your personal happiness? What's more, Yi Feiguang is the #1 genius of the East. If you marry him, how is it wrong for you? Think about it. Your child will be born with your and Yi Feiguang's advantages. He will become the most distinguished person in the East. Isn't that good enough? If you insist on disobeying, I won't hide it from you. Your master and I will have to use the mercy powder." Shengguan Shui's body suddenly trembled when she heard the words mercy powder. After drinking the mercy powder, it would make people hallucinate and completely lose themselves. No matter if it was a man or a woman, they would fall into a trance after consuming it. Only by having sex could they be free. She had never thought that her beloved master and martial uncle would use such a drug on her in order to achieve their goal. It was too despicable and shameless. Haha, I'll give you 10 seconds to think about it. Do you want to obediently follow our arrangements and marry Yi Feiguang, or continue to resist and let us use some means on you that we don't want to use?" Venerable Qin Xing sneered. "I've already thought about it." Shengguan Shui took a deep breath, and her eyes were filled with determination. A wise man submits to circumstances. "Shui, I'm doing this for your own good. Why would we harm you?" Venerable Qin Xing thought that Shengguan Shui had chosen to submit, and a smile appeared on his face. "Martial uncle, I think you've misunderstood. I didn't mean that I've decided to marry Yi Feiguang. Do you really want me to use the drug on you?" Venerable Qin Xing was puzzled. "That's not what I meant. I meant that from now on, I'll cut off all ties with the Snow Palace." After saying that, Shengguan Shui looked at Li Changsheng affectionately and said, "Changsheng, I've made up my mind. I'll leave with you. Don't show mercy to anyone who tries to stop you." Shengguan Shui's eyes were filled with determination when she said, "Don't show mercy." This sect had raised her and nurtured her, but it had also disappointed her too much. She treated her master and martial uncle as her family, but in the end, her master and martial uncle betrayed her for their own interests. Could it be that in the hearts of her master and martial uncle, she was far less important than their interests? The more Shengguan Shui thought about it, the sadder she felt. "Little Shui, have you forgotten about the sect's nurturing? The Snow Palace taught you cultivation methods and made you a famous saintess in the East. Why? We're just asking you to marry Yi Tianjiao. Do you feel wronged?" Venerable Qin Xing snorted coldly. "It's true that you've raised me, but it's also true that you're using me for your own interests." Shengguan Shui bit her lips. Every word that Venerable Qin Xing said was akin to rubbing salt on her wound. "All right, Granny Rome, get out of the way. Don't force me to kill you," Li Changsheng said coldly. "Granny Rome?" Venerable Qin Xing frowned and felt confused. However, she knew that it was definitely not something good. She then sneered disdainfully. I should be the one saying that to you. At this moment, the disciples that Venerable Qinsheng brought could not help but attack Li Changsheng. However, before they could get within 3 steps of Li Changsheng, they were blocked by an invisible force. No matter how hard they tried, they could not move forward even an inch. At this moment, Venerable Qinsheng finally realized that Li Changsheng was not as ordinary as he looked. However, she was not afraid. This was the Snow Palace. Even if the 3 great saints came, they might not be able to escape unscathed. Therefore, she immediately took a step forward. Boy, it's all because of you that Shui has so many thoughts. If I kill you, Shui will naturally give up. As soon as she finished speaking, she swung her sword at Li Changsheng. However, when the sword radiance was 3 steps away from Li Changsheng, it could no longer descend. Her face suddenly turned pale. It was fine that the disciples were blocked by Li Changsheng's aura, but she was an Earth celestial powerhouse. Granny Rong, your strength is not good enough. Li Changsheng flicked his finger gently. With a whoosh, the sound of thunder could be heard. Venerable Qinsheng's body was then hit by an invisible force. She flew out and hit the door frame. The door frame was smashed into pieces and fell to the ground. Chapter 897. How dare you start a fight in the Snow Spirit Palace? The disciples all shouted. Li Changsheng waved his hand, and all of them flew out. Some hit the wall and made a hole in it. Some flew out and smashed the floor, and some were hung on trees. At this moment, Li Changsheng was already striding towards Venerable Morningstar. Looking at Li Changsheng's indifferent and emotionless eyes, Reverend Qinsheng finally had fear in his eyes. What do you want to do? This is the Snow Spirit Palace. You can't be so presumptuous. In the next second, Li Changsheng raised his hand, and a terrifying amount of energy began to gather. Stop! At this time, a shout was heard. Several figures flew toward them like big birds. The leader was Evil Moon, the palace master of the Snow Spirit Palace. Behind Evil Moon were the elders and disciples of the Snow Spirit Palace. Evil Moon appeared. When he saw Morningstar immortal lying on the ground and spitting blood, his eyes became cold. Palace Master. Several disciples who had been injured by Li Changsheng got up and saluted Evil Moon. The guy who was hanging on the branch struggled and finally broke the branch. Crack! He fell from a tree and fell flat on his face. Qinsheng clutched her chest and staggered to her feet. Her hair was disheveled, and she looked battered and exhausted. However, there was a venomous light in her eyes. Palace Master, you must seek justice for me. Shangguan Shui colluded with outsiders and hurt me. You can't let her go easily. The cultivator who came with Li Changsheng was curled up in a corner. He didn't expect Li Changsheng to be so cruel that he could hurt an elder of the Snow Spirit Palace. Evil Moon, the palace master of the Snow Spirit Palace, was here. As a cultivator in the East, how could he not know the name of Evil Moon? He was an expert at the peak of the Earth's celestial stage and a real big shot in the East. It's over. I'll be implicated this time. Evil Moon went over to help his junior sister, Venerable Morningstar, up. After checking her injuries, he was slightly relieved. Although she had vomited blood, it was not a big deal. Li Changsheng still had a sense of propriety. How dare you cause trouble in my Snow Spirit Palace? Junior sister, don't worry, I will punish the culprit. After that, Evil Moon strode into the courtyard. However, when he saw Li Changsheng standing there with a cold expression, his eyes were filled with doubt. Then, as if he had thought of something, his face was filled with shock. She had also participated in the previous battle between the good and evil. Naturally, she had witnessed the battle between Li Changsheng and the 3 true immortals. What? How does Evil Moon Palace Master want to punish me? Li Changsheng said indifferently with a playful smile on his face. Evil Moon's hand holding the sword began to tremble. He stammered, You didn't die? Get out of the way. I want to take Shangguan Shui away from the Snow Spirit Palace. Do you have any objections? Li Changsheng looked at Evil Moon quietly. After all, Evil Moon was Shangguan Shui's master. Unless it was absolutely necessary, Li Changsheng still did not want to kill him. Who gave you the courage to talk to the palace master like that? A disciple had already stood up and shouted loudly. Li Changsheng's eyes suddenly turned cold, and an invisible momentum spread out. The disciple took 3 steps back. His face was as pale as paper, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. His eyes were filled with horror. The surrounding people were also in an uproar. Li Changsheng had not done anything, but his glare had made the disciple spit out blood. What kind of cultivation was this? Clatter, clatter, clatter. The elders behind him had already drawn their swords. Evil Moon raised his hand and said, "Stop. All of you stop. Don't act rashly." Then he took a step forward and cupped his hands to Li Changsheng, saying, "Since you want to take Shangguan Shui away, I naturally dare not stop you." When the words "dare not" came out of his mouth, the surrounding people were confused. At this time, many more disciples rushed over. Those who had participated in the righteous and corrupt battle that day recognized Li Changsheng and cried out in alarm. "He's still alive. He's not dead. Oh my God, what did I see? Who is he?" Some people who did not know the truth asked. "He's Li Changsheng, the man from the outer star area who almost killed Immortal Hao Yu at Sky Capital Peak." As Li Changsheng's identity was announced, fear appeared in the eyes of countless disciples. Even the elders sucked in a breath of cold air. Although the Snow Spirit Palace had a strong foundation and dominated the East, they definitely could not stop a Dao Reunion perfected immortal. Li Changsheng had almost killed a Dao Reunion perfected immortal, so the Snow Spirit Palace could not afford to offend him. "Li Changsheng, if you want to take Shui away, we can't stop you. But have you ever thought that if you come out, the 3 holy lands will not let you go? Do you want to take Shui and wander around the world, hiding from place to place and living like a street rat?" In Evil Moon's opinion, Li Changsheng's appearance here must have been hidden from the 3 holy lands in a special way. If the people of the 3 holy lands knew, they would never let Li Changsheng go. This is not something you should be concerned about. Li Changsheng took Shangguan Shui's hand and was about to walk out. "Mr. Li," Evil Moon still wanted to persuade him. Although Li Changsheng was powerful, in her opinion, offending the 3 holy lands would not end well for him. It would be safer to marry Yi Feiguang. She did not dare to use force, so she could only use a tactful method to persuade Li Changsheng. "Get out of my way." Li Changsheng suddenly glared. Evil Moon subconsciously took 2 steps back to get out of the way. A dignified leader of a sect was actually so timid. Is this guy the one who fought the 3 genuine immortals at Tiandu Peak? The cultivator who came with Li Changsheng finally understood now. His mouth was wide open and full of disbelief. Li Changsheng happened to look at him at this time. "Let's go. I've taken you to see the Snow Spirit Palace. Do you want to stay here and be punished and then be cut into 8 pieces? I'll leave with you now." The cultivator hurriedly shuddered. Thinking of the scene of the Snow Spirit Palace venting their anger on him, he was so scared that his body trembled. Li Changsheng chuckled. "Well, it's okay if you don't leave. Come with me. No one will dare to touch you." When Li Changsheng said this, he faintly glanced at Evil Moon's face, which made Evil Moon feel a chill in his heart. Just as Li Changsheng was about to step out of the gate with Shangguan Shui, another group of people quickly rushed here. "Evil Moon Palace Master, I heard that someone is causing trouble in the Snow Spirit Palace." "How dare they?" The voice was full of majesty. Everyone looked up and saw an old man walking over with majestic steps. Behind him was a group of experts with extraordinary auras. It was Yi Haoyang, the head of the Yi family in the East. Next to Yi Haoyang was his son, Yi Feiguang. "The head of the Yi family is here. Now we're saved," Immortal Chen Xing said in surprise. Evil Moon could only smile bitterly. Li Changsheng could even kill a genuine immortal. What could the people of the Yi family change? Yi Haoyang was full of majesty. When he saw Li Changsheng holding Shangguan Shui's hand, he immediately became angry. "How dare you? Let go of my daughter-in-law's hand." When Yi Feiguang saw Li Changsheng, it was as if he'd seen a ghost. He hurriedly pulled the corner of his father's clothes and said, "Father, be careful with your words. Chapter 898. Yi Haoyang was also a bad-tempered person. He immediately scolded. Your wife has been snatched by someone else. Why don't you hurry up and cut this kid into 8 pieces? How dare you ask me to be careful with my words? How dare you snatch my daughter-in-law? I'd like to see how many lives you have. Did you eat dragon liver and tiger gall? With that, Yi Haoyang was about to make a move. Yi Feiguang hurriedly stopped him. Father, he's Li Changsheng. I don't care if he's Li Changsheng or Yang Changsheng. Yi Haoyang didn't participate in the battle between good and evil, so he didn't know Li Changsheng. However, when he was halfway through his sentence, an idea suddenly flashed through his mind. The Li Changsheng who was killed by the 3 perfected immortals at Tiandu Peak? His voice suddenly stuttered a little. That's right. Yi Feiguang smiled bitterly. From the moment he saw Li Changsheng, he knew that his marriage was going to be ruined. Except for the 3 holy lands, who in the world could stop this devil? Patriarchy, I snatched your daughter-in-law. How are you going to deal with me? Li Changsheng said with a faint smile. Yi Haoyang stammered for a long time. Then, he simply cupped his hands and said, You're stronger than me, and your fists are harder than mine. I can't beat you. If you want to snatch, then snatch. What can I do? Yi Haoyang was so straightforward that Li Changsheng laughed. Li Changsheng laughed, took Shenghuan Shui's hand, and took a step forward. They flew directly into the sky and disappeared without a trace in the blink of an eye. Yi Feiguang just sighed at this time. His heart fell to the bottom, and he could only blame himself for being incompetent. The cultivator brought by Li Changsheng was anxious. Wait for me. If you leave me here, what if I'm cut into 8 pieces? After Li Changsheng flew away, Evil Moon walked to Yi Haoyang. Patriarch Yi, look, Yi Haoyang sighed. What are you looking at? Unless both our clans have true immortals, who can stop him? Even if there were true immortals guarding the place, they would not dare to mess with him easily. After all, even the combined efforts of the 3 true immortals of the sky capital peak allowed him to survive. Didn't this Li Changsheng offend the 3 holy lands? Let's quickly inform the 3 holy lands to take him down. Venerable Qin Xing stood out and said viciously. Currently, only the 3 holy lands can deal with him. Evil Moon was also holding back his anger. As the leader of a sect, he had never suffered such humiliation. At this moment, a disciple hurriedly ran in. Palace Lord, the latest news is that something shocking has happened in the central region. The 3 holy lands were wiped out in a single day. From the sect master to the ordinary disciples, all of them were killed. The entire central region is in chaos now. The disciple gasped for breath. Clearly, this news had shocked him quite a bit. Evil Moon, Yi Haoyang, and the others all felt a chill rising from the soles of their feet to the top of their heads. The 3 holy lands had been destroyed. Who could have done this? At the same time, they thought of the figure that had just left. Fortunately, Yi Haoyang's face was full of lingering fear. Evil Moon naturally knew what he meant by fortunately. Even the 3 holy lands were destroyed. He must be invincible in the world now. At this moment, a trace of joy rose in Evil Moon's heart. Originally, she was not optimistic about Li Changsheng because Li Changsheng had offended the 3 holy lands, and the 3 holy lands had experts in the true immortal realm. But now, it was different. The 3 holy lands had been destroyed by Li Changsheng. Li Changsheng alone could dominate the world. If her disciple married Li Changsheng, the status of the Snow Spirit Palace would also rise sharply. It was many times better than marrying Yi Feiguang. Fortunately, she was sensible. Thinking of this, Evil Moon could not help but look at her junior sister, Venerable Chun Xing. You didn't say anything inappropriate in front of Shui, did you? Indeed, no matter how Li Changsheng felt about the Snow Spirit Palace, as long as Shenghuan Shui remembered their friendship, the Snow Spirit Palace would benefit from it and rise to the top. Venerable Qin Xing was not stupid. In an instant, she understood what Evil Moon meant and stammered. Evil Moon suddenly frowned, looked at a disciple next to her, and said, What was the situation at that time? The disciple told Evil Moon the scene at that time in detail. Evil Moon's face became gloomier and gloomier. My stupid junior sister said those words to hurt Shangwan Shue's heart and completely push her to the opposite side of the Snow Spirit Palace. Palace Master, Venerable Qin Shing still wanted to say something. Evil Moon raised his hand and slapped Qin Shing in the face, sending him flying more than 10 meters away. She took a deep breath, suppressed the anger in her heart, and said to Yi Haoyang at the same time, Master Yi, I feel a little unwell. I want to accompany you. With that, she returned to her residence angrily. Yi Haoyang looked at his dejected son and could only sigh. Who told his son to fall in love with someone he shouldn't? After leaving the Snow Spirit Palace, Li Changsheng took Shangwan Shui back to the central region. Because of the break with the sect, Shangwan Shui was a little depressed. Li Changsheng spent a lot of effort to make her happy. At this time, the news of Li Changsheng wiping out the 3 holy lands gradually spread in this part of the world. The world was shocked. In the main hall of the Cloud Dynasty sect, Venerable Zishan heard the report from her subordinate. Her heart was like a stormy sea. He's alive and even more powerful. The 3 holy lands were wiped out by him. This is simply unimaginable. If I didn't draw a clear line with him, the Cloud Dynasty sect would probably become the new master of the central region. In the end, Venerable Zishan sighed, and her whole person seemed to have aged dozens of times. At the same time, Chun Ling who was returning home to visit her family, was strolling in the back garden accompanied by her father, Chun Haoran. After becoming the Cloud Dynasty sect's saintess, the Chun family's status in the country skyrocketed. Chun Haoran was even given the title of king, with a different surname, majestic and awe-inspiring. When Chun Ling returned home, even the king of the country personally came to welcome her. The Chun family could be said to have ascended to heaven. My Chun family produced a phoenix. What am I? Mr. Li is the powerful one. At this time, Chun Ling couldn't help but think of Li Changsheng. Her top-grade water spirit root was hailed as a peerless genius, a rising star in the southern region. But compared to Li Changsheng, it was nothing. If Mr. Li didn't die, thinking of this, Chun Ling couldn't help but sigh faintly. At this time, a paper crane flew from the sky and landed on her hand. Opening the letter, Chun Ling's beautiful eyes suddenly widened. What's wrong? Chun Haoran was puzzled. Mr. Li didn't die. Just half a month ago, he wiped out the 3 holy lands. Now, he is known as Invincible Li. At the same time, in the White Robe sect, Yuan Chushue rested her chin on her hands and looked at the osmanthus flowers falling to the ground. A middle-aged man stood behind her. This was the sect master of the White Robe sect, her father. Chushue, don't be in a daze anymore. That Li Changsheng just treated as a dream. He is indeed a peerless genius, but he doesn't know what's good for him. In fact, his ending was already predestined. How good would it be if Mr. Li didn't die? Yuan Chushue recalled her encounter with Li Changsheng and felt a lump in her throat. At this time, a subordinate suddenly came in and reported, Sect Master, there are many people outside who have come to pay respects to you. What are they paying respects to me for? Yuan Chushue's father turned and went to the main hall. He saw a dense crowd of people standing outside. They were all sect masters and elders of the nearby sections. A few of them were people from third-grade sects that the White Robes sect usually had to lower their heads when meeting. Could it be that a disciple of my White Robes sect got into trouble? Just as he was wondering, a sect master of a third-grade sect had already come forward to welcome him. Sect Master Yuan, congratulations. In the future, our White Robes sect will have to rely on you. Sect Master, well, what do you mean? Sect Master Yuan, don't you know that your daughter's good friend, Li Changsheng, didn't die? Just half a month ago, he wiped out the 3 holy lands. Now, he is the most powerful person in the world. What? Yuan Chushue's father was stunned for a moment. Then he shouted to his subordinate, quickly go and invite the young lady. Chapter 899. At the same time, in a third-rank sect located in the depths of a mountain in the central region, an old man in a tang suit was sitting on the main seat in the main hall. A group of people stood respectfully beside him. If Changsheng was here, he would recognize that the man in the Tang suit was the master of Penglai Island, Gu Bairan. After Gu Bairan came to Tian Du Star, he wandered around and had a conflict with the cultivators of Tian Du Star deep in the mountains. With Gu Bairan's strength at the peak of the profound finger realm, he defeated the other party directly. The other party then gathered the people of the sect to fight with Gu Bairan. In the end, Gu Bairan showed his super strength. In the end, the sect master of the third-rank sect fought with Gu Bairan's people. Both of them were injured. In the end, they became good friends. Gu Bairan also joined the sect and became a guest elder, because he knew that there were earth immortals and even true immortals in this world. Gu Bairan was a little timid. He didn't dare to wander around and stayed in the sect to cultivate. This world was rich in spirit chi. He kept cultivating and had recently broken through to the earth immortal realm. His status in the sect had skyrocketed. He was like a retired emperor. At this time, his good brother, the sect master of the Lotus sect, was sitting next to him. Brother Gu, you've broken through to the earth immortal realm and can be ranked among the top experts in this world. I plan to officially announce to the world that my Lotus sect will be promoted to a 4th-rank sect. At that time, Brother Gu will be the sect protector. What do you think? Okay. Gu Bairan took a sip of tea. After being promoted to a 4th-rank sect, the country's offerings would increase exponentially. The items he needed for cultivation would also be more abundant. Gu Bairan felt that this world was simply his feng shui treasure land. At this time, he couldn't help but think of Li Changsheng. When Mr. Li was at the profound finger realm, he could fight with the guardian of the earth immortal realm. He definitely isn't a nobody in this world. It's just that I've been in seclusion for the past 3 years and don't know much about the outside world. It seems that I have to find some time to ask around. But Mr. Li isn't as patient as me. In this world, even earth immortals can't run rampant. Could it be that he provoked someone he can't afford and got killed? If that's the case, it would be such a pity. I'm still the smart one, hiding in this deep forest to train and having so many people to serve me. Just as Gu Bairan's thoughts were running wild, a disciple hurriedly walked in. Sect Master, the situation in the east has changed. What changed? The Lotus Sect Master asked solemnly. This disciple suddenly came in and said something without knowing the rules at all, which had already made him unhappy. News has come. The 3 holy lands have been destroyed by someone, and it was by someone from the outside world. Someone from the outer realms. The Lotus Flower Sect Master was surprised. Beside him, Gu Bairan suddenly sat up. He himself was an outlander, which was his biggest secret when he came to this world. So when he heard the words, Outlander, he immediately had a big reaction. What do you mean by Outlanders? Tell me about it. Gu Bairan hurriedly asked. It's someone called Li Changsheng. He flattened the 3 holy lands and killed 3 Dao integration stage true immortals. As soon as he finished speaking, everyone in the hall was stunned, and Gu Bairan only felt his head buzzing. Next, the Lotus Flower Sect Master asked the disciple some specific things, but he didn't hear them. Li Changsheng actually killed a true immortal. He originally thought that his breakthrough to the Earth Immortal stage was already very fast. In his opinion, no matter how strong Li Changsheng was, he would at most be a little stronger than him when he came to this world. It was already very impressive for him to be able to break through to the Earth Immortal stage and become a figure on par with the geniuses of this world. But he never thought that Li Changsheng would actually kill a Dao integration stage, true immortal, and destroy the 3 holy lands. This brother is too fierce. No, I have to go see him. How can I not hug such a thick thigh? Gu Bairan stood up. Brother Gu, where are you going? The Lotus Flower Sect Master looked at Gu Bairan in confusion. Gu Bairan didn't pay attention to him at all. He directly walked out of the hall, flew into the sky, and instantly disappeared without a trace. Brother Gu, where are you going? The Lotus Flower Sect Master chased out, but only saw the afterimage left by Gu Bairan. He ran away. What should I do now that he ran away? The Lotus Flower Sect Master wanted to cry, but had no tears. He had already gotten someone to prepare to announce that they were going to be promoted to a 4th grade sect. Now that Gu Byron, who had broken through to the Earth Immortal stage, had run away, wouldn't that mean that the promotion plan would be ruined? The heavens took pity on him. In the past 3 years, he had provided Gu Byron with so many spirit stones, herbs, and treasures for cultivation. Now it was all for naught. All of a sudden, the dignified Lotus Flower sect master, a 300-year-old old man, began to sob, feeling extremely wronged. Just as the entire Tian capital star was in an uproar because of Li Changsheng had already arrived at the capital of the Great Qian dynasty with Shangguan Shui. As soon as he stepped into the capital, he sent a message to his disciple, Mei Songshu, who soon came to welcome him. How was it? After I left, the emperor of the Great Qian dynasty didn't make things difficult for the Mei family, right? Li Changsheng looked at Mei Songshu. No, the news of the destruction of the Tai sword sect has arrived. The emperor of the Great Qian dynasty has already conferred the title of the South Garden King to the Mei family and given a piece of land. My father has already brought the people of the Mei family to the fief. I'm the only one waiting for Master in the capital. Oh, I see. Master, the emperor of the Great Qian dynasty has always wanted to see you. I wonder if you're willing to meet him? Since you're here, there's no harm in meeting him. Li Changsheng and Mei Changsu arrived in front of the palace, only to see that the emperor of the Great Qian dynasty had been waiting for a long time with the civil and military officials. When they saw Li Changsheng, they immediately knelt down and greeted him as if they were servants. The news that Li Changsheng had destroyed the Tai sword sect had been confirmed in the past few days. When the emperor of the Great Qian dynasty saw Li Changsheng, it was as if he had seen a god. Shangguan Shui accompanied Li Changsheng like a fairy. When the emperor of the Great Qian dynasty learned that Shangguan Shui was the saintess of the Snow Spirit Palace in the east, he was even more in awe of Li Changsheng. In the next few days, the emperor of the Great Qian dynasty personally invited Li Changsheng into the palace and let Li Changsheng and Mei Changsu stay in his courtyard. Li Changsheng also took the opportunity to search for information about the ancient path of the starry sky in a library of the Great Qian dynasty palace. Now that he had obtained the Tiandu sword, his combat power had soared, and killing perfected immortals was a piece of cake for him. He definitely had the ability to explore the vast world. In the past few days, Li Changsheng flipped through the books in the library and finally found some descriptions of the ancient path of the starry sky. At the peak of the snowy mountains in the far north, there is a demon palace guarding the heavenly road. Although there were only a few sentences, Li Changsheng's mind was suddenly enlightened. There was a palace at the ancient path on earth. Could it be that there was also a palace in this world and a guardian of the ancient path in the palace? Chapter 900. It was the northernmost land, where the demon sect's base camp was located. Li Changsheng closed the book and walked out of the library. He saw Shangguan Shui dancing with her sword in the courtyard. The sword light was ethereal and the petals were falling beautifully. She looked just like an immortal. Just as Li Changsheng was engrossed in watching, he heard some footsteps outside. "Mr. Li, someone wants to see you. He says that he's an old friend of yours." The emperor of the Great Qian dynasty actually came to deliver the news in person. Shangguan Shui heard the voice and saw Li Changsheng staring at her. She couldn't help but blush. "My old friend." Li Changsheng was a little annoyed that the emperor of the Great Qian dynasty appeared at this time, but he was curious to hear that it was an old friend of his. "Let's go and take a look." Li Changsheng followed the emperor of the Great Qian dynasty to a large hall, and soon a guard led an old man in. It was Gu Byron. "Mr. Li, long time no see." Gu Byron was very happy to see Li Changsheng. When fellow countrymen saw each other, they were teary-eyed. Besides, the two of them were in a foreign land, and hence, they felt very close to each other. A smile appeared on Li Changsheng's face. "I didn't expect us to meet again." While speaking, Li Changsheng looked a little surprised. "Congratulations, Island Master Gu, for breaking through to the Earth Immortal Realm." Upon hearing that Gu Byron was an Earth Immortal Realm powerhouse, the emperor of the Great Qian dynasty didn't dare to put on airs and immediately gave him a seat. I was able to break through to the Earth Immortal realm because Mr. Lee was willing to take me on the ancient road. Now that you're famous, I still have to rely on you to intimidate others. Island Master Gu, you're being too polite. I've already found out that there might be an entrance to the ancient road in the northernmost land of this world. Would you like to go on the ancient road with me again? Hearing Li Changxing's words, Gu Bairan looked a little hesitant. He had broken through to the Earth Immortal realm and finally had the ability to establish himself in this world. If he went to a new world, who knew what it would be like? This world was rich in spiritual energy. If he went to another world, it would be as barren as Earth. Hence, it would be impossible for him to break through to the next realm. It seems that Island Master Gu is having too much fun and doesn't want to leave. Then I can only set off on my own. I don't want to leave this world, but I want to go back to Earth and take a look. Return to Earth? Li Changxing's eyes were also a little dazed. Indeed, no matter how far he went, Earth was still his home. But how do we return to Earth? As far as I know, you can leave and return on the ancient Starry Sky Road. It's like a station where people come and go. I beg Mr. Lee to take me to the extreme north and take me back to Earth for a look. I see. Li Changxing also revealed a look of joy. I thought that we could only leave and not return. If we can return, I will return with you. The emperor of the great Qin dynasty was surprised to hear that. Legend had it that Mr. Lee was from an alien star domain, but he had never dared to ask about it. It seemed that it was true. Li Changxing looked at Shangwan Shui beside him. Are you willing to accompany me to take a look at my hometown? Shui is now a child that no one wants. I'll go wherever you take me. Her words had already revealed her intentions. Li Changxing couldn't help but hold her hand. In that case, let's set off today. Li Changxing looked at the emperor of the great Qin dynasty and said, Thank you for your hospitality these days. Here are a few low-grade Dharma artifacts that I'll give to you as a gift. With a wave of Li Changxing's hand, several magic tools glowing with golden light fell down. They were some Dharma treasures that Li Changxing had obtained when he destroyed the 3 sacred grounds. Li Changxing didn't fancy them at all. However, when the Dharma treasures landed, the emperor of the great Qin dynasty widened his eyes because they were all treasures. Next, Li Changxing asked mate Sangshu to pack up before bidding farewell to the emperor of the great Qin dynasty. He rode on the White Tiger and officially headed to the north with Gu Bairan. After passing Tiandu Peak, they would reach the north. When Li Changxing and the others passed by Tiandu Peak, they saw that the original location of Tiandu Peak had turned into a huge pit. They couldn't help but feel emotional. Unfortunately, the bamboo house that I built under Tiandu Peak back then is nowhere to be found now. Shangwan Shui lamented. She had been guarding this place for 3 years, and now that she was revisiting it, she naturally had mixed feelings. However, she didn't wait for 3 years in vain. Just as Li Changxing and the others crossed the area of Tiandu Peak and stepped into the territory of the demon sect, the demon sect was already in chaos. The 10 major sects of the demon sect had been killed by Li Changxing, and the leader of the demon sect was now the sect master of the Sun Moon cult, Bei Hailuo. In the past, Bei Hailuo was only ranked 5th among the 10 sect masters of the demon sect. Initially, he didn't have the chance to take charge, but ever since the battle between the righteous and diabolical paths, the demon venerable Li Changxing died, and the experts of the demon sect were killed by Li Changxing. They had no choice but to make him the leader of the demon sect. At this moment, in the hall of the Sun Moon cult, Bei Hailuo panicked when he heard his disciple report that Li Changxing was heading to the extreme north. What do we do? That devil even destroyed the 3 holy lands. Could it be that he still hasn't vented his anger and wants to destroy my devil sect? Bei Hailuo's voice trembled. Some of the bigwigs of the demon sect below him also had fear in their eyes. Even when the demon sect was at its peak, they hadn't been able to stop a savage like Li Changxing, much less now that there were only 2 or 3 of them left. It seems we have no choice but to ask the demon ancestor for help. At this moment, one of the sect masters spoke up. The entire hall fell silent when the words demon ancestor were uttered. The demon ancestor isn't even willing to take action in the battle between the righteous and diabolical paths. Will the demon ancestor take action against Li Changshan? Bei Hailuo asked. And even if the demon ancestor does take action, will he be able to deal with Li Changshan? Don't forget that he's the one who killed 3 Dao integration true immortals from the 3 sacred lands. Li Changshan was able to kill the 3 true immortals because they were arrogant and conceited. If the 3 true immortals joined forces, how could they have died? 3,000 years ago, the demon sect lost the battle with the righteous sections. The righteous sects had 3 true immortals, but they didn't dare to kill us because of the demon ancestor. The demon ancestor alone can fight against 3 true immortals, so he should have no problem dealing with Li Changshan. Bei Hailuo's brows were still furrowed when he heard the other party's analysis. Even so, I'm afraid the demon ancestor won't take action. You should know that the demon ancestor wholeheartedly pursues the supreme, heavenly demon Great Tao. He has long said that he won't get involved in the affairs of this world. Indeed, the demon ancestor won't take action if it's anything else, but Li Changshan is different. I can guarantee that the demon ancestor is willing to come out. That sect master said. Why? Not only Bei Hailuo, but the others also looked curious. Because I heard that Li Changshan has refined Sky Capital Peak. What? When these words were spoken, everyone present revealed a look of surprise. Could the legend be true? If that's the case, the demon ancestor might take action. Bei Hailuo was overjoyed. Legend had it that the first demon emperor of the demon sect was nailed to death by the Sky Capital Sword in the central region and turned into a mountain. The demon ancestor was the first disciple of the first demon emperor. They had always thought that it was just a legend, but since Sky Capital Peak was really a treasure sword, then the legend must be true. 3 days later, countless experts of the demon sect gathered in front of a valley and bowed respectfully. Demon ancestor, Sky Capital Peak has been refined by someone. This person is on the way to the extreme north. As the leader of the crowd, Bei Hailuo said loudly to the valley, Demon ancestor, please come out of seclusion and bless the demon clan. Demon ancestor, please come out of seclusion. Their voices shook the sky. Everyone of the demon sect had been kneeling in front of the valley for a whole day, but there was no movement in the valley. Even such news can't make the demon ancestor come out of seclusion. Bei Hailuo was already in despair. Just as he was about to get up, the ground suddenly shook. Black fog kept surging in the valley like rolling waves, and a figure was looming in the black fog. Did someone really refine Sky Capital Peak? The voice was hoarse and a little ear-piercing. However, everyone of the demon sect was in awe, and their bodies began to tremble. The demon ancestor really came out. The history of the demon sect was much simpler than that of the orthodox sections. The first demon emperor founded the demon sect and led the disciples of the demon sect to rule the entire star region. The orthodox sects could only struggle under the oppression of the demon emperor and live in misery. Then, one day, an expert from the outer region suddenly appeared. He claimed to be the heavenly lord of the Tao sect and wanted the demon emperor to retreat to the extreme north and give the world to the Tao sect. The demon emperor naturally refused, and the two of them fought. In the end, the demon emperor was nailed to the ground by a giant sword that fell from the sky and turned into Sky Capital Peak. After the demon emperor died, the demon ancestor inherited his mantle and led the demon sect. However, because the heavenly lord of the Tao sect was too strong, the demon ancestor never dared to fight against him. Later on, the orthodox sect's experts rose one after another, and there were no less than 3 Tao integration perfected immortals. The demon ancestor never had a direct conflict with the orthodox sections. Because of the demon ancestor's existence, no matter how badly the demon sect lost against the orthodox sects, no one killed them all. However, everyone in the demon sect knew that the death of the demon emperor was the demon ancestor's biggest worry. Reporting to the demon ancestor, this is absolutely true. That person refined the Sky Capital Sword and even flattened the three sacred grounds. It is said that he is an outsider. Upon hearing the words outsider, a terrifying aura came from the valley. The black fog that was already surging instantly soared into the sky and spread in all directions. Countless plants withered instantly. "Where's that outsider?" the demon ancestor asked coldly. Chapter 901. The demon ancestor has been born. The news spread from the demon sect camp. Due to the years of conflict between the good and the evil, there were many spies of the good in the demon sect camp. Therefore, the whole world was shocked when the news spread. The demon ancestor had always existed in the legends of the demon sect. He was even older than the three Tao integration perfected immortals of the three sacred grounds. I heard that the demon ancestor has been born to deal with Li Changsheng. The demon ancestor is the eldest disciple of the demon emperor. His existence is the last trump card of the demon sect. He hasn't made a move for thousands of years. Li Changsheng killed three Tao integration perfected immortals, but it's very likely that he killed them one by one. Who's stronger now that the demon ancestor has been born? There was a lot of discussion in the world. At this moment, Li Changsheng and the others, who had already gone deep into the demon sect territory, were suddenly stopped by someone. Bei Hiluo, in a black robe, came to see Li Changsheng in person. "I'm Bei Hiluo, the sect leader of the Sun Moon cult." "Greetings, Mr. Li." Bei Hiluo was a sect leader, but he was still cautious when he saw Li Changsheng. "What's the matter?" Li Changsheng asked with a frown. He wanted to go to the extreme north and return to Earth first before stepping on the ancient path of the stars. He was eager to return home, so he didn't understand why the people of the demon sect would appear at this time. "The demon ancestor has been born and wants to see Mr. Li." Bei sensed the displeasure on Li Changsheng's face, but he still said respectfully, "I don't have time." Li Changsheng said coldly, "What demon ancestor? What does he have to do with me? I don't have time to see him." Bei Hiluo's expression froze. The demon ancestor was a legend, but Li Changsheng treated him with such an attitude. Although he was displeased, he didn't dare to show it. The demon ancestor said that if Mr. Li doesn't see him, he will come to see you. "Then let him come," Li Changsheng said indifferently. Half a day after Li Changsheng rejected Bei Hiluo, a figure blocked his way on the white snowfield. At the same time, dozens of miles away, many people from the demon sect had gathered. The demon ancestor came out to fight Li Changsheng. It was seen as the biggest event in the demon sect in 1,000 years. Only Li Changsheng, the person involved, did not know that the whole world was shocked. Li Changsheng stopped and said to Shenwan Shui and the other few people, "Step back a few dozen miles away." From what Li Changsheng could sense, this black-robed man was even more terrifying than Reverend Hao Yu and the others. It wasn't that Li Changsheng was afraid of him. Rather, once the battle began, Shenwan Shui and the others would distract him. Even a lion would use its full strength to hunt down a rabbit, let alone a Tao integration stage true immortal. "You are Li Changsheng?" A hoarse voice sounded. The other party slowly turned around. It was a young face. His cheeks were as sharp as a knife. However, his eyes were grayish-white and his pupils could not be seen. "So you are the devil ancestor?" Li Changsheng's voice was equally calm. In this world, apart from the legendary devil ancestor, who could be stronger than the three Tao integration stage true immortals? Therefore, Li Changsheng easily guessed the other party's identity. "Are you from the mysterious yellow star zone?" The other party did not answer Li Changsheng's question. Instead, he asked directly, "So what if I am? So what if I'm not?" "If you are not, I can spare your life if you hand over the Tiandu sword. If you are, the snowfield will become your burial ground." "How did the people from the mysterious yellow star zone offend you?" Li Changsheng was a little puzzled. 3,000 years ago, my master was nailed to the ground by someone from the mysterious yellow star zone. Therefore, I once swore that I would kill anyone from the mysterious yellow star zone if I see them. I wonder who nailed your master to death. Li Changsheng was curious. Since he was from a mysterious yellow star zone, that meant that he was from his hometown. Since he could nail the Devil Emperor to death, he had to be a Tao integration stage true immortal or even stronger. He is known as the Heavenly Lord of the Tao sect, but I know that he has another name, Xianwu. Li Chongqing suddenly thought of the true martial immortal sect, whose totem was Xianwu. When he first saw the Tiandu Peak, he felt a mysterious force calling him. At that time, he was puzzled. Now that he thought about it, it should have something to do with the inheritance of the true martial immortal sect. The Tiandu planet was very likely to be inseparable from the true martial immortal sect. The doubts that lingered in Li Chongqing's mind were instantly cleared. However, an even bigger doubt appeared in his mind. Why did the true martial immortal sect expert named Xian Wu leave the Tiandu sword in this world after nailing the Devil Emperor to death? That was a Tao artifact Dharma treasure. Also, where did the Taoist named Xian Wu go? While Li Chongqing's thoughts were running wild, the demon ancestor said coldly, "You haven't answered my question yet. I come from a place called Earth. If I'm not wrong, it should be the mysterious yellow star zone that you mentioned." When Li Chongqing finished speaking, he could clearly feel the sharp, murderous intent coming from the demon ancestor. "You are indeed from the mysterious yellow star zone. If you're not from mysterious yellow star zone, it is impossible for you to refine the Tiandu sword. Then you should die. Hand over the Tiandu sword, and I can leave your corpse intact." The other party began to walk towards Li Chongqing step by step. With each step, the aura on his body grew stronger. When he was halfway there, endless black fog had already covered the sky, causing the whole world to dim. The other party's strength was very terrifying. "You say it as if you have already defeated me," Li Chongqing sneered. "I will also give you a piece of advice. Now, go back to where you came from, and I will pretend that you never appeared. Otherwise, what demon ancestor? Do you believe that I will beat you into the air? What is air?" The demon ancestor frowned. "It is sh*T. Li Chongqing chuckled. "You have a death wish." The demon ancestor had lived for countless years, and no one had ever dared to talk to him like that. Li Chongqing's words completely angered him. The next moment, countless black fog behind him turned into a giant claw and fell from the sky, crushing toward Li Chongqing. Under the giant claw, the snow on the ground was instantly rolled up, and countless cries of ghosts and gods could be heard. Facing the giant claw that was bigger than a mountain, Li Chongqing clenched his fist and punched out. Boom! The huge fist force collided with the giant claw, and violent energy instantly exploded in all directions. In the face of the energy, the void shattered layer by layer, and a huge crack appeared in the world. Streams of aura could be seen seeping in from the crack. Clearly, the powerful existences from the depths of the void had noticed the battle taking place here. "When I am fighting, it is not your place to peep." The demon ancestor snorted coldly and waved his hand, sending a blast of energy into the depths of the void. Then, there was a scream from the depths of the void. "Damn it! It is a true immortal realm expert." In an instant, Li Chongqing felt that the divine consciousness receded like the tide. Obviously, those existences in the depths of the void did not dare to provoke a true immortal realm expert. At that moment, the giant claw had exploded under Li Chongqing's fist force, and Li Chongqing's fist force had also completely disappeared in the explosion of energy. Both sides were evenly matched. "Not bad. You can block 1/10 of my power. You are much stronger than the 3 old guys from the 3 Holy Lands." The demon ancestor commented, "Unfortunately, you are from the mysterious yellow star zone. Otherwise, I might have been soft-hearted and taken you as my disciple. What a pity." After the demon ancestor sighed, the black fog above his head condensed again. This time, it turned into a black flame, and the sky began to distort. Seeing the flame, Li Chongqing was not surprised. Instead, he was happy. This was because he recognized that it was the fire of the underworld. Previously, he had only obtained a few wisps of the fire of the underworld from Heavenstone Great Ancestor, and he was very excited. Looking at the fire of the demon ancestor, it was 100 times more powerful than Heavenstone Great Ancestor. "I have really picked up a treasure," Li Chongqing thought to himself. Chapter 902. No matter how arrogant the demon ancestor was, he still used his strongest move. Both of his hands danced with the flames of the netherworld, forming a tornado that swept across the space between heaven and earth. The demon ancestor was in charge of the extreme north. No matter how badly the demon sect lost in the battle with the righteous faction, the three true immortals did not dare to kill the demon sect. From the way he attacked, it could be seen that he was much stronger than the three true immortals. He was truly an invincible expert in the Tiandu star zone. Rumble. The fire of the underworld formed a tornado and rushed forward. The demon ancestor stood at the back with his hair flying. His face was full of confidence. Faced with the destructive flames of the netherworld, Li Changxing's face was filled with excitement. He raised his palm and silently circulated the flame refining technique. When the flames of the netherworld were right in front of him, he suddenly waved his palm and shouted, "Withdraw!" Instantly, like 100 rivers returning to the sea, the boundless netherworld flames surged toward his palm and disappeared without a trace. How could this be? The demon ancestor's face changed. The fire of the underworld was one of his proudest moves. It could burn anything. But now, it had mysteriously disappeared. The scariest thing was that he had completely lost his sense of the fire of the underworld. You must have used your weapon to collect my fire of the underworld. Let's see how much you can collect. The demon ancestor waved his hand, and endless fire of the underworld flew out. It was dozens of times bigger than the tornado just now. It communicated with the heaven and earth and completely covered Li Changxing. However, in the next second, the tornado quickly dissipated and was absorbed by Li Changxing. The demon ancestor's face finally changed, and he regretted it. He had risked his life to get the fire of the underworld. He did not expect Li Changxing to benefit from it. His eyes were filled with murderous intent. Even if it was to get the fire of the underworld back, he had to kill Li Changxing. At that moment, Li Changxing felt the sea of flames in his elixir field. He looked satisfied. I did not expect someone to give me such a big gift when I am about to leave the Tiandu star zone. Die. The fiend ancestor's hands formed seals as his fingers danced in the air. Countless black gas condensed in front of his chest, finally forming a huge black palm that flew towards Li Changxing. However, just as the palm approached, it was broken by Li Changxing's palm. What? Are you out of tricks already? What a disappointment. Li Changxing shook his head. The demon ancestor revealed a cold smile. The palm turned into streaks of black light that flew in all directions and landed on the ground. In an instant, the scene of the entire world changed. It turned out that the other party had pretended to attack to confuse Li Changxing, but in fact, it was to send those things in all directions to form a formation to trap Li Changxing. Damn you, you're really full of tricks. Li Changxing snorted coldly, but he was still ridiculously calm. After sparring with the fiend ancestor a few times, he had an understanding of his opponent's strength. Although the fiend ancestor's strength was stronger than any of the three true immortals, he was definitely no match for them when they joined forces. It was also because of this balance of strength that the three true immortals did not dare to force him into a corner. He also did not dare to risk his life against the three true immortals, so the righteous and evil side would not be destroyed by the other side. Li Changxing, I originally did not want to offend an expert like you, but who asked you to come from the mysterious yellow star zone? I must avenge my master. Today, either you die or I die. The fiend ancestor slowly raised his palm, and black pillars rose from all directions, each forming a black line in the sky that connected together, completely separating Li Changxing from the world. The most powerful thing about Tao Reunion perfected immortals was that they could control heaven and earth yuan qi. The fiend ancestor thought that since Li Changxing could kill the three true immortals, he must be a mysterious realm expert. He used this method to isolate the world. That way, all the heaven and earth yuan qi would be under his control, and it would be difficult for Li Changxing to mobilize the heaven and earth yuan qi. This way, he could continuously mobilize the heaven and earth yuan qi, and he would be in an invincible position. Li Changxing was like the boundless water, and the more he used, the less he would be able to use. Sooner or later, he would be killed by him. The plan was meticulous, and his heart was vicious. However, he did not know that Li Changsheng was not even an earth immortal, let alone a true immortal. The most powerful thing was the power of the physical body, not the control of the heaven and earth yuan qi. Okay, now it's time to send you on your way. The fiend ancestor said proudly. I'm not the one who killed your master. You don't dare to take revenge on the person who killed your master, but you want to vent your anger on me. What a joke. Li Changsheng shook his head. As soon as he said that, the fiend ancestor was instantly enraged, and his eyes revealed a sharp murderous intent. Indeed, when his master was killed by the experts of the mysterious Yellow Star Zone, he had been hiding and did not dare to take revenge. Now that Li Changsheng had touched his sore spot, he immediately became furious. After the fiend ancestor had completely trapped Li Changsheng, a magic staff appeared in his hand. The magic staff was blood red, and there was a scarlet light flowing on it. When he took out the magic staff, he muttered something, and a boundless evil aura spread out from the magic staff. It was unknown how much blood it had drunk. He pointed the magic staff in his hand, and a red light turned into a ferocious snake. It pounced toward Li Changsheng, and wherever it passed, the void shattered. When Li Changsheng saw such an attack, he realized that the fiend ancestor had been hiding some of his strength. Now that he felt that the situation was under control, he showed his full strength. The fiend ancestor was cunning. In fact, he had left himself a way out from the beginning. The red snake opened its mouth, and a row of sharp fangs were like sharp blades. They shone with a cold light and were full of bloodthirst. Break! Li Changsheng took out the giant palm print and slapped it on the snake's head. That huge snake instantly shattered with a bang. The giant palm print was Li Changsheng's best superpower. With his current realm, the power was earth-shattering. Break! After breaking the red snake, the giant palm print did not disperse. It slapped toward the red magic staff. The red magic staff made cracking sounds under the giant palm print. Countless cracks appeared, but the fiend ancestor did not seem to feel sorry for it. His goal was to use this kind of attack to exhaust Li Changsheng's Fa Li. When Li Changsheng's Fa Li was completely exhausted, it would be time for him to die. So, although the magic staff was precious, he did not feel sorry for it. After that, he continued to attack Li Changsheng one after another. An hour later, Li Changsheng was still alive and kicking. He couldn't help but frown. After such a long time, you must have used up most of your vital essence. Now it is time to end it. As the fiend ancestor's voice fell, a white bone appeared in his hand. This is my master's finger bone. Back then, he was nailed to death in the center of the continent by the Tian-Du sword. His entire body was destroyed. Only the remnants of his cultivation were left in this finger bone. I have nurtured it for 1,000 years. Today, I will use this finger bone to take your life. Consider it as collecting some interest for my master from the people of the mysterious Yellow Star Zone. As soon as the fiend ancestor finished speaking, the finger bone flew into the air. A terrifying aura spread out. Chapter 903. Boom! The finger bone flew into the sky, and the terrifying energy spread across the entire sky. The black light of the isolation array became even more rampant, preventing Li Changsheng from escaping. Using the black array to trap Li Changsheng, and then using the finger bone to kill Li Changsheng. This was the demon ancestor's plan. Master, I'm going to take revenge for you today. The demon ancestor looked up to the sky and laughed. In his heart, he regarded Li Changsheng as his enemy. When the demon ancestor finished his sentence, the entire sky was filled with terrifying energy, as though doomsday had arrived. The demon ancestor lived up to his name as the demon sex patriarch. He was filled with demonic aura. At the same time, the entire snowfield began to crack, and the sky outside was constantly shattering. Maid Sangshu, Shangguan Shui, and the rest looked at the scene in horror. Shangguan Shui clenched her fists, and she was worried for Li Changsheng. In addition, in the demon sect camp, Beihai Luo and the rest were also looking at the direction of the battle. What terrifying power! The demon ancestor's small dark world contains the Tao of space, and its power is boundless. Seeing the demon ancestor use this array today proves that the demon ancestor has gone all out. Beihai Luo said solemnly, "Looks like this Li Changsheng is really powerful to be able to make the demon ancestor go all out." That's right. How can someone who can kill 3 true immortal realm experts be an ordinary person? However, he is destined to die when facing the demon ancestor. I'm afraid the small dark world alone isn't that powerful. The demon ancestor must have used that item. A demon sect master said in a deep voice. The demon emperor's fingerbone, someone exclaimed. When the demon emperor was nailed to the ground by the Tian-Du sword, he had injected half of his cultivation into the fingerbone. The fingerbone had the characteristic of being indestructible, and it was equivalent to a semi-Dao artifact Dharma treasure. If the demon ancestor has really used that Dharma treasure, then this Li Changsheng is too terrifying. However, there's almost no suspense in the outcome. Li Changsheng will definitely die, a demon sect master said. With half of the Devil Emperor's lifetime worth of cultivation, coupled with the Fiend Ancestor's own strength, such strength is enough to kill any true immortal. No matter how strong Li Changsheng is, he should be within the range of a golden immortal. For Li Changsheng to be able to force the Fiend Ancestor to use all of his trump cards, he should be proud. Beihai Luo muttered to himself. At this moment, the black chi pillar inside the formation connected heaven and earth. Streams of black chi surged into the sky from all directions and converged on the white fingerbone. A terrifying power was brewing, and before it could fully erupt, it already seemed like it was going to split the heavens and earth. Countless experts in the entire Tian-Du star field sensed the terrifying aura and turned their eyes to the extreme north. This was the real battle of the century. The demon ancestor is going all out. I hope he can take this Li Changsheng down with him. A righteous path, sect master said. With the death of the 3 true immortals of the righteous path, the balance between the righteous path and the demon sect was broken. If the fiend ancestor didn't die, the righteous path would probably fall under the rule of the demon sect. With the strength of the fiend ancestor, how could he die so easily? I think the one who will die is Li Changsheng. I don't expect Li Changsheng to take the Fiend Ancestor down with him. As long as he seriously injures the Fiend Ancestor, the righteous path will have a few decades to recover. Who knows, there might be a new Dao reunion perfected immortal. Otherwise, the Fiend Ancestor will really take over the world. Countless people were discussing. Within the formation, Li Changsheng raised his head and looked at the white fingerbone with a calm expression. He could feel the powerful power contained in the fingerbone. It was equivalent to a Dharma treasure at the level of a Dao artifact. Such power was indeed shocking. Li Changsheng slowly pulled out the Tian-Du sword in his hand. This sword was a true Dao artifact, and the fingerbone could only be said to be barely comparable to a Dao artifact. This was also Li Changsheng's greatest trump card. Your master, the Demon Emperor, was once nailed to death in the center of the Tian-Du star by the Tian-Du sword. Now, you'll have the same fate as your master, dying under the Tian-Du sword. What a pity. Li Changsheng slowly raised the black sword in his hand. If he hadn't refined the Tian-Du sword, he could only run for his life if he encountered an expert like the Fiend Ancestor. It would even be difficult for him to protect himself. However, after refining the Tian-Du sword, his strength had reached an extremely terrifying level. Even the 3 true immortals couldn't block a single strike from him. The Fiend Ancestor, who was slightly stronger than the 3 true immortals, was nothing. Die. The Fiend Ancestor had already fallen into a state of madness. He had never dared to seek revenge for his master's death. It had almost become his inner demon. All these years, he had been living in seclusion in the extreme north, unwilling to come out. He had been thinking of ways to get rid of his inner demon. When it came to inner demons, the more you wanted to get rid of it, the tighter it would bind you, just like the band-tightening spell. Therefore, when he heard that Li Changsheng was from the mysterious Yellow Star Zone, he seemed to see the hope of getting rid of his inner demon. He didn't dare to seek revenge on that person. so he used Li Changsheng as a substitute. If he killed Li Changsheng, he might not be able to get rid of his inner demon completely. However, he should be able to take that step and aim for the Heaven Immortal stage. The white finger bone emitted a terrifying power. With a powerful force, it directly struck down on Li Changsheng. The fiend ancestor's hands danced, and magic arts were injected into the finger bone. He wanted to gather all the magic power in his body and the power of the finger bone to launch a fatal blow. Before the finger bone had completely landed, the terrifying power had already spread in all directions. The entire snowfield began to sink under this power. Under such power, even an expert in the Earth Immortal stage would be crushed into a meat patty in an instant. A true Immortal stage expert might be able to resist it, but this was just the aftermath of the power. People from mysterious yellow star zone. Today, I will kill you to avenge my master. In the future, I will find that person and personally cut off his head. As soon as the fiend ancestor finished speaking, the aura on his body rose, as if he had made a great vow. He divided his revenge into 2 steps. Killing Li Changsheng was the first step. After completing the first step, he would be able to break through to the next realm. As for when he would be able to avenge his master and completely get rid of his inner demon, that was a matter for the future. It was also possible that he would never be able to avenge his master. In fact, the fiend ancestor also understood that the person who killed his master was very powerful. This was equivalent to deceiving himself. As long as he deceived himself, he would be able to get rid of his inner demon. Die. His eyes were filled with madness. The white phalanx suddenly exploded. In order to kill Li Changsheng, he had damaged his finger bone as the price. In an instant, the terrifying power completely enveloped Li Changsheng. The fiend ancestor believed that no one could stop such power, not even himself. Ha 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 ha. He let out a wild laugh, feeling extremely carefree. The feeling of breaking through to the next realm filled his heart. As long as he saw Li Changsheng die with his own eyes, he would be able to step into the celestial immortal stage. However, his laughter came to an abrupt end. In a violent energy, a sword light directly broke open a sword path. Li Changsheng held the Tian Du sword and walked out of the energy of the finger bone explosion like a god. Chapter 904. How is this possible? The demon ancestor's face was filled with disbelief. In his heart, he was certain that Li Changsheng would die, but reality had given him a slap in the face. Looking at the figure that rushed out and the sword light that fell from the sky, his eyes were filled with disappointment. Am I going to have the same fate as my master? Am I going to die in the hands of the people of mysterious yellow star zone? At this moment, he closed his eyes in despair. If that attack could not kill Li Changsheng, he could not think of any chance for him to survive. Boom! The sword light that was thousands of feet long came down, and the entire snowfield shook violently. Under the sword light, the demon ancestor was cut into pieces from head to toe. In the demon sect camp, Beihai Luo clenched his fists in excitement when he felt the strongest spiritual power fluctuation. The demon ancestor must have killed Li Changsheng. From now on, our demon sect will dominate Tiandu Star Zone again. Yes, Tiandu Star Zone will belong to our demon sect after all. Everyone in the demon sect was excited. They had been fighting for generations. Ever since the first demon emperor was nailed to death under the Tiandu sword, the demon sect had failed in every battle. Now, they finally saw hope. Can Changsheng block it? Shangguan Shui clenched her fists so tightly that her nails dug into her palms. Every time there was an energy fluctuation, her heart skipped a beat. Master is powerful. Even the demon ancestor is nothing. Mei Songshu, on the other hand, was filled with confidence in Li Changsheng. There was no other reason other than the fact that he had accompanied Li Changsheng for so long. Even true immortals couldn't withstand a single strike from Li Changsheng. Although the devil ancestor was powerful, in his opinion, he was still inferior to Li Changsheng. I hope so. Gu Byron was not so optimistic. He had never seen Li Changsheng fight, so he did not know about Li Changsheng's strength. The demon ancestor won. Let's go and welcome the demon ancestor together, Beihai Luo said loudly. Welcome, demon ancestor. The demon sect disciples followed behind and walked to the battle. At this time, the center of the battle was shrouded in violent energy, but because the demon ancestor was dead, the energy began to calm down. Greetings, devil ancestor. Beihai Luo led the demon gate disciples to kneel down. However, when the energy dissipated, a figure stood there quietly, holding a black sword in his hand. It was Li Changsheng. When the people from the demon sect saw Li Changsheng's face clearly, they were instantly like roosters whose throats had been seized. All of them were stunned on the spot. How could it be you? Beihai Luo said with a trembling voice. Where is the devil ancestor? Guess. Li Changsheng smiled, then raised his hand and struck out with his palm. A transparent palm print struck Beihai Luo, sending him flying a dozen meters away. You demon sect people actually summoned the demon ancestor to deal with me. You deserve to die. Li Changsheng's eyes were cold. He already knew the ins and outs of the matter. Beihai Luo led the demon sect disciples to the valley and begged for the demon ancestor to come out, which led to today's battle. If it wasn't for Li Changsheng's strength and the Tiandu sword, he would have died if he encountered the demon ancestor. Therefore, Li Changsheng didn't show any mercy to these demon sect disciples. When Beihai Luo heard Li Changsheng's words, his face was immediately filled with fear. Even the demon ancestor had died in the hands of Li Changsheng. Who else in the world could withstand a blow from Li Changsheng? He was afraid that Li Changsheng would massacre the demon sect in a fit of anger. If the demon sect who had not died after fighting against the Orthodox for thousands of years disappeared from the world, he would be a sinner. He wasn't the only one. The other demon sect people were also trembling with fear. They regretted summoning the demon ancestor. If they didn't summon the demon ancestor and let Li Changsheng leave, Li Changsheng wouldn't take the initiative to find trouble with the demon sect, and the demon sect could continue to survive. Moreover, with the demon ancestor holding the fort, once the 3 genuine immortals of the Orthodox sects died, the demon sect could take over the world and restore the glory of the ancient demon emperor. However, they had to beg the demon ancestor for help. In the end, even the demon ancestor had died in the hands of Li Changsheng. The demon sect's advantage over the Orthodox sects was gone. If Li Changsheng went on a killing spree, the demon sect would really be wiped out. Spare my life, spare my life. Beihai Luo was now the leader of the demon sect, but at this moment, he was kneeling on the ground and kowtowing to Li Changsheng and begging for mercy. He wasn't the only one. The rest of the demon sect were also kneeling and begging loudly. No one wanted to die. Li Changsheng waved his sleeves again, and a mighty wave of energy flew out. Tens of thousands of demon sect disciples were sent flying into the sky like dumplings and then fell back down one by one. This is just a small punishment for you, Li Changsheng said coldly. Originally, he could have massacred the demon sect, but in the end, he didn't do so. In his eyes, even the aces at the Earth's celestial stage were just ants. How could a giant care about the actions of ants? Thank you, sir. Thank you. The people of the demon sect were sent flying by Li Changsheng, but they didn't dare to complain. Instead, they were happy because they knew they had saved their lives. Li Changsheng didn't bother to pay attention to them. He took a step and disappeared. When he reappeared, he was beside Shangwan Shui and the others. Shangwan Shui and the others were worried. They saw the energy fluctuations in the center of the battle gradually subsiding, but they still didn't see Li Changsheng. They were anxious and wanted to go to the center of the energy to have a look. Then, they saw Li Changsheng falling from the sky. Shangwan Shui suddenly threw herself into Li Changsheng's arms and hugged Li Changsheng tightly. Her body was trembling. She was really worried that Li Changsheng would have an accident. Congratulations, Master. You are safe and sound. Made Songshu bowed to Li Changsheng. Although he felt that Li Changsheng was invincible, it would be a lie to say that he wasn't worried. The eyes of the Penglai Island Master were full of emotion. Who would have thought that Li Changsheng would defeat the demon ancestor? When Li Changsheng left Earth, he could barely defeat the guardian of the ancient road, who was at the Earth celestial stage. He remembered that the battle between Li Changsheng and the guardian of the ancient road was also earth-shattering. But now, in just 4 years, Li Changsheng had grown to the point where he could kill the demon ancestor, who was at the peak of the true celestial stage. If such a figure returned to Earth, it would be like a big Buddha descending to hell. Those who followed him would prosper, and those who opposed him would die. Fortunately, the Penglai Island Master was glad that he had surrendered to Li Changsheng in time. Otherwise, who could bear to offend such a figure? Well, let's continue our journey. Li Changsheng patted Shangwan Shue's back. Only then did Shangwan Shue loosen her hands around Li Changsheng's waist with pink cheeks. As the Holy Virgin of the Snow Spirit Palace, she was as pure as ice and as pure as jade. She was famous for being an iceberg goddess. She had never acted like a little girl. Even Gu Bairan and Maid Songshu, who were next to her, were a little dazed. When she looked back and smiled, she was so charming that the 6 palaces paled in comparison. For someone like Shangwan Shui, even if it was just a gentle smile, it had unparalleled charm that could melt ice and snow. The few of them continued their journey, heading toward the extreme north. According to the records in the ancient books in the Great Qian Imperial Palace, there was a demon palace in the far north. It was the most mysterious place on the Tian-Du Star. Even the true celestial stage powerhouses on the Tian-Du Star did not dare to go there rashly, because there was a risk of death. The guardian of the ancient road on Earth was at the Earth celestial stage. I wonder what realm it is in this world. Li Changsheng was faintly looking forward to it. With the Tian-Du sword, as long as he did not encounter the legendary celestial stage powerhouses, he was confident that he could defeat them. Chapter 905. After walking for a few more days, there was no one left in this place. A black palace stood in front of them, reaching straight into the clouds. Black smoke billowed above the black palace. No wonder it was called the Devil Palace. In this snow-covered extreme north, it was very eye-catching. What a powerful demonic aura! Gu Bairan's face looked serious. Even the devil ancestor, who fought Li Changsheng, did not have such dense demonic aura. Although the devil ancestor was called a devil, he only cultivated demonic cultivation methods. He was not a real devil, but a human. However, this devil palace seemed to be imprisoning a real, faceless heavenly devil. Just as Li Changsheng was about to continue walking forward, a black banner suddenly appeared in the sky and stabbed into the ground in front of Li Changsheng and the others. On the banner, the black aura formed a few words: "Take a step forward and die." When Li Changsheng saw these words, he took a step forward without hesitation. Boom! At this moment, the entire Devil Palace was in an uproar, and a sharp sound was heard. Li Changsheng's actions had clearly angered the existence in the Devil Palace. Whoosh! In the next second, Li Changsheng did not hesitate to unleash a sword light and cut the black banner in front of him in half. The black aura in the Devil Palace surged even more violently. The black aura condensed into a black figure. His face could not be seen clearly, as he was shrouded in a black robe. However, one could feel his cold eyes staring at Li Changsheng. "Who are you? How dare you ignore my warning? Do you want to die?" The voice echoed in the sky. The boundless demonic aura turned into all kinds of shapes, including skulls and ghost faces. "Are you performing a magic trick?" Li Changsheng curled his lips. "You're courting death," the other party said coldly. In the next second, Li Changsheng punched out. Boom! The mighty fist force wreaked havoc for hundreds of meters and instantly blasted the black figure into pieces. "You're just using some illusions to deal with me." Li Changsheng snorted coldly and walked towards the Devil Palace without hesitation. At that very moment, the existence inside the Demon Palace was thoroughly enraged. dense streams of black energy rose up into the sky before finally transforming into a gigantic palm. Like a mountain, it pressed down on Li Changsheng and the others. Li Changsheng did not stop. He continued to slash out with a sword beam, shattering the palm. At the same time, he drew the Tian-Du sword and slashed at the demon palace in front of him. Boom! The sword light was dazzling and was thousands of feet long. When the sword landed on the Black Devil Palace, the Devil Palace shook violently. The ground trembled as a miserable shriek rang out from within. Then, a figure flew out from within. It was a figure shrouded in a black robe. His palm was shriveled up, practically skin and bones. His voice was sinister, his words hoarse. "Who are you? Are you the guardian of the ancient road in this world?" Li Changsheng asked directly. "I'm going to step on the ancient road of the stars and return to the mysterious yellow star zone." Li Changsheng knew that people in this world would not know what Earth was if he told them about it. However, if he told them about the mysterious yellow star zone, it would be very famous. Sure enough, after Li Changsheng finished speaking, the figure shook. "Are you from mysterious yellow star zone? You must have some skills to be able to pass the guardian of the ancient road of the mysterious yellow star zone. However, the mysterious yellow star zone has a cultivation limit. The strongest person is not allowed to break through to the Earth immortal realm. Do you think you can deal with me just because you could defeat the guardian of the ancient road of the mysterious yellow star zone? Boy, I wouldn't have bothered with you if you had retreated obediently. However, since you dared to slash my devil palace with your sword, you shall leave your life behind." After saying that, the black figure rushed towards Li Changsheng in an instant. "You're courting death." Li Changsheng was too lazy to talk nonsense. He took out the Tian-Du sword. The sharp sword radiance swept across the world and slashed down directly. The black figure was sent flying backward at an even faster speed. Li Changsheng was already eager to return. He did not want to waste any time. He rose into the sky and slashed 81 times with the Tian-Du sword at the black chi in front of him. This sword is called God Slayer. This sword is called Immortal Slaying. This sword is called Demon Slayer. This sword is called Mountain Break. This sword is called Heaven and Earth. This sword is called Peerless in the world. Li Changsheng's voice kept ringing out. The sword radiance kept slashing out. The dense sword radiance was like a rotating gear, slashing the Devil Palace at a speed of dozens of slashes per second. At this moment, the sword radiance was vast and mighty. The energy was raging and crisscrossing. The Black Devil Palace kept shaking under the sword radiance. Countless cracks appeared on it, and the black fog was swept away. Under Li Changsheng's storm-like attacks, the voice of the guardian of the ancient road finally came from inside. "Stop. Otherwise, do you want to destroy my Devil Palace? I'm warning you. If you don't stop, I won't be polite to you." "Immortal Master, please calm down." "Stop. Immortal Master, I was wrong. Please stop. Stop slashing. I was really wrong." The voice went from a tough threat to a begging for mercy. It even had a hint of sobbing. However, the other party hid in the Devil Palace and did not dare to show his head. Li Changsheng's sword radiance was too many. As long as he showed his head, he would be cut into pieces like dumplings. Finally, after 180 slashes, the Devil Palace was broken into pieces. Li Changsheng stopped attacking and looked at the Devil Palace coldly. A black figure condensed once again. This time, even the black robe that covered his head was taken off, revealing a pale face. There were traces of blood at the corner of his mouth. Evidently, Li Changsheng's slash on the Devil Palace had also caused him to be quite injured. He looked at Li Changsheng with eyes full of fear. His voice trembled as he said, "I didn't expect to see an expert with the potential of a great emperor. Immortal Master, I was wrong. You can walk the ancient road of stars freely." Li Changsheng snorted coldly. These people were itching for a beating. He had wanted to talk to them nicely, but they thought he was a pushover. If he didn't teach them a lesson, they wouldn't know how strong he was. When Shangwan Shui and the others saw this scene, they all subconsciously swallowed a mouthful of saliva. This was too ferocious. Li Changsheng descended from the sky and led Shangwan Shui and the others inside. They followed Li Changsheng into the Devil Palace. Originally, this Devil Palace belonged to the guardian of the ancient road. It could be said that he was the master of this space. In the past, the guardian of the ancient road had wanted nothing more than for his enemies to enter this place. That way, he could do whatever he wanted. But today, he didn't dare to play any tricks. Li Changsheng was simply too terrifying. Even if he could use spatial techniques to control Li Changsheng, he was afraid that Li Changsheng would be able to break out. When that happened, he would die. Why is the palace of the ancient road of stars on earth so dazzling and full of immortal qi, but this place is filled with devil qi? Li Changsheng looked at the black-robed man. The guardians of the ancient road of stars on earth are from famous sects, and I'm from the devil sect. Naturally, the Devil Palace is used by the Devil Sect. So you're saying that the guardians of the ancient road of stars don't belong to the same power? Li Changsheng was surprised. He had assumed that the guardians of the ancient road of stars belonged to the same sect. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.